Y'all, what in the hell is this? I said hell because it looked like something from hell. Look closely, y'all. It looked like bodies on it, right? This joint looked like something straight out of Stranger Things. And this is in California, y'all. California, in the desert.
Chris Brown was replaced.
Chris Brown, he believes in UFOs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you think you ever been abducted?
Hell nah.
Do you think you ever seen anything that looked different? Why do you believe?
Because I'm an alien.
So DDG was on the stream talking about sleep paralysis and how he got it so much that he started to enjoy it.
But I can't move. And I just, that's how I communicate. Because I can't make out words. And then it'd be something in the corner. Like it looked like a little monster or something in the corner just staring at me.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scary and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Good things that are happening in the world right now. The person who just took this photo showing a rainbow has no end won Weather Photographer of the Year. A man who was crushed by a car and the stranger who comforted him while waiting for help just got married and celebrated by taking photos at the crash site. A toddler was found safe after a German Shepherd tracked her for hours in sub-freezing wilderness. An 80-year-old grandma who just learned how to swim when she was 59 years old is now the oldest female Ironman finisher ever. She did this in Hawaii by swimming 2.4 miles, then pedaling 112 miles on a bicycle, and then ran a full marathon after. The actor Neil Newbin from Baldur's Gate 3 says his performance of the game pulled him out of $34,000 in debt and years of not doing very well. He said not only saving his life, but reinvigorating. The Netherlands has closed 20 prisons since 2009 due to a significantly low prison population because of lower crime rates and a focus on rehabilitation. This is Rico, a dog from Portugal that was saved from being euthanized and is now a pet detective. Thanks to Rico's sniffer, he has already taken part in over 20 different animals being saved, including a capybara named Cinnamon, who escaped from the zoo last year.
Chris Brown was replaced.
Same thing with Kanye, bro. He's the real Chris Brown. He's not allowed to get on stage. It's the only way he can make his money.
So you feel like that was like a lookalike that did that?
Huh? Do I feel like it was a lookalike in Chris Brown's body?
Wait a damn minute.
Okay.
No, Chris Brown is not that. It's just the same. It's the same thing with Kanye, bro. The taller Kanye, the smaller Kanye, taller Kanye. I was Ye. They started making more Ye's. Chris Brown, that was not Chris Brown on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because I'm an alien.
it's not Chris Brown on stage, bro.
Let him cook. Well, Chris Brown, he believes in UFOs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you think you ever been abducted?
Hell nah.
Do you think you ever seen anything that looked different? Why do you believe?
Because I'm an alien.
4K.
Why?
Because I'm an alien.
Okay, explain.
I can't explain.
Do you feel like, and I don't mean, you know, sometimes people think alien with the eyes and outer space and all that stuff, but you really feel like you're not of this planet?
I'm an alien.
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
What do you think?
Yellowstone National Park is once again making news, and it's not for a good reason. A gigantic hole has been found in the park again. You heard what I said. A gigantic hole has opened up at Yellowstone National Park. Take a look at this time-lapse video. There's the hole. Now keep an eye on the circle.
It's expanding, you can see it. Like real time.
Starting to open. Watch. Look at this. Take a look at that. This is incredibly crazy. Look at the size of that hole. For those that are unaware, beneath Yellowstone National Park lies a complex and extensive volcanic system. This also could both hold the key and explain as to why the animals were fleeing Yellowstone National Park in droves. So my question to you is, what are your thoughts as to what caused another gigantic hole to open up at Yellowstone National Park? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Tell me down below.
In order for you to do this job of cleaning this absolutely massive animatronic in water. Imagine falling in with it. Look how massive it is. Oh my God, you would have to pay me at least $1 million an hour. If you have submechanophobia, you're not going to be having a fun time with this video. This is the Murray Bridge Bunyip, and it's in Australia. You pay 20 cents for it to come out from under this like bridge-like area, and I would pay $20,000 for it to not come out of the water and for it to stay and leave me alone forever. Thank you. Actually, no, scratch that. It's even scarier when it's completely submerged in water. I hate this. And here's it when it was completely covered in oil for some reason. Imagine falling in with it. Imagine falling in with it at night. Oh my God. This is one of my biggest ops. I swear I think about this thing all the time. This is it in its pit when it's completely drained of water. Ew. Like, look how massive this thing is. Just look. Oh my God. I just need to know that I'm not the only one terrified of this thing, because I'm sure I'm not. It's a massive animatronic in water. Who isn't scared of this? If you're not scared of this, you are actually the bravest person that's ever existed.
So not me. He was on the stream talking about sleep paralysis and how he got it so much that he started to enjoy it. He also said every time he would get it, he would see this dark creature in the corner of his room. And then he just described how he couldn't talk, he couldn't move, he couldn't do anything. I just want to tell y'all that is demonic.
Eyes, when I get sleep paralysis, I'm like this, right? My eyes don't be like this. My eyes are open, but I can't move. That's how I communicate, because I can't make out words. And then it'd be something in the corner, like it looked like a little monster or something in the corner. It don't move.
Why me?
That sounds scary.
Why?
Yeah, but then somebody, the only way to wake up is somebody wake you up or get out of your sleep somehow.
That's like
You gotta fight back.
I
I had this shit like so many times in a row at one point, it started to become fun. Yeah, like I was scared of it. I was scared.
Here's the thing, you can get rid of sleep paralysis. Why? Because it is unclean spirits either in your presence or on you or in you. I promise if you pray in the name of Jesus and drive out those unclean spirits that are probably in your room, okay? Remember this, in your room, you drive those spirits out, you pray over yourself, you pray over your sleep, you pray over your dreams. I can guarantee you that you will not have sleep paralysis. Now, you might have to do it several times over, but you will not have sleep paralysis. Or you could literally, if you're in the middle of it, you could literally say Jesus' name or Jesus help or whatever, and it'll flee. It'll flee.
Timothy Chalamet.
Seekers, having sleep paralysis is kind of one of the most scariest things ever, bro. I've experienced it like a couple of times. I remember one time I just woke up in the middle of the night thinking, okay, I'm trying to move. I'm like, hold up. It's literally like how DDG described it. It's like you're literally like just frozen there. It's like, and yeah, he's right. The only thing you can move is your eyes. You move your eyes, but it's like you can't move any of your legs, arms. I'm like, okay. I had to just take some deep breaths. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to flip over. I was like frozen for like a couple of minutes, man. But he said he had fun with it. I don't know how he could, man. That was like literally one of the most scariest times I've ever experienced.
SD Kid, and there is proof. There is this huge theory that the massive rapper SD Kid from the UK is actually the actor Timothy Chalamet. Pretty insane theory, but just you wait. Timothy is pretty damn smart. The promo he's doing for the new movie is mad. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, one of the reasons why people think this is him is because Fake Mink has a massive, massive song with SD Kid. He was spotted at a Fake Mink concert not too long ago. But then after this is when people started putting pictures together and seeing the resemblance of these two people. And the eyes is actually insane. Like, that is mental.
Similar.
People actually also spotted Timothy wearing the same clothes that SD Kid was wearing recently. Again, furthering the theory. Of course, the biggest loophole here is that SD Kid has a Scouse accent, and obviously Timothy Chalamet is American, but he is also a world-class actor. He could put an accent on if he really wanted to. But crazier again, people have found out he actually did used to be a rapper back in the day, Lil Timmy Tim.
obviously very different, but still it proves the point that he's into music and has been into rap before. The theory has legs, but it does feel very strange and far-fetched at times, so let me know your thoughts and people are going to keep digging, no doubt.
Zara has just had multiple ads being banned by UK regulators for their models appearing too thin. And Zara isn't even the only one. So, these are the two pictures that Zara's been forced to remove because the UK's Advertising Standards Authority claimed that the models were unhealthily thin. Now, this is despite both women having medical certification proving that they were in good health when these pictures were taken. Regardless, though, the regulators stated that the use of these pictures was irresponsible, saying that the first image was problematic because it draws attention to the model's collarbones, which they described as protruding. And for the second image, they said that the shadows and the lighting made the model's legs look noticeably thin, and that the positioning of her upper arms and elbow joints presented her as out of proportion. Now, Zara did remove these images, but they said that this is the first complaint they have received for these adverts. And British regulators aren't just going after Zara. Two other retail giants in the country, M&S and Next, were also recently forced to remove ads which again were described as unhealthily thin. Now, to date, there are no recorded ASA bans for models appearing unhealthily overweight. In fact, the clothing brand Snag told the BBC that they get over 100 complaints a day about their models being too overweight, yet they have never been forced to remove an ad. So the question is, do you agree with the decision to remove these ads or not?
Y'all, what in the hell is this? I said hell because it looked like something from hell. Look closely, y'all. It looked like bodies on it, right? This don't look like something straight out of Stranger Things. And this is in California, y'all. California, in the desert. This look like the gateway to hell. I think they say this is in Joshua Tree in California. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a place I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be nowhere near this junk right here. I rebuke. Now, people that's around that area said they don't know when or how that got there. So my question is, do anybody know when and how that got there? And if an artist took his time to make this and build it over here and install it, you're weird.
This is actually a crazy story. These are footprints in the desert in Mexico, and they are dated 10,000 years old, and they observed these footprints, and what they assumed, just judging off the footprints, was it was a lady that was running from something, and the footprints, they're a mile long, and they don't deviate, they're like a straight line, and every couple hundred yards looks like she stops and puts someone down. It's a child, and you can see following the tracks is a giant sloth tracks, and it says at one point it looked like it stood up and then back down and was chasing her. So they go for a mile long, and then they just stop, and then it's just her footprints coming back right beside them, but no child. But the weird thing is, obviously this was like mud or something she was running in. Yeah. These footprints were left undisturbed for 10,000 years, so no animal, no human stepped on them. So the theory is something could have happened to just freeze time in that region at that moment, like a cataclysm or something. Yeah. So that's why she was running. That's why the sloth could have been running.
They're all running from something.
Yeah.
It's saying that David allegedly dismembered this girl's body, head, arms, legs, packed this girl in a freezer that he bought and put in his house in California. And after she was frozen, bagged her up and disposed her body into that Tesla. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. TMZ reports that David, a suspect in the presumed homicide of Celeste Rivas, had a freezer large enough to store a body in his rental home, a relevant fact since her body had apparently been frozen for months. And they're saying that that's the freezer right there. Mind you, they're saying a second person was involved with this whole thing. And allegedly, that second person helped him put that body in the Tesla. The shit that's so crazy about this is she's been missing since September 2024. And what's even more crazy about this shit is, if she was missing that long, then allegedly she could have been in that freezer for God knows when. Body frozen and all, until they decided to take her and put her in that Tesla. Allegedly. Mind you, nobody wasn't making noise about this girl. Moms, friends, nothing. She just was off the map and nobody was saying anything. And if all of that is the case, freezer, next person involved, David, and David is a monster. There was in numerous pictures, numerous Instagram posts. He wrote about her. He made songs about her. And the police is just putting two and two together? That shit don't make no sense at all.
The rarest vids ever taken, part 6. Here's some incredible footage of a black tiger marking its territory, one of the rarest big cat mutations on Earth. These so-called black tigers aren't truly melanistic, but carry a genetic glitch that thickens their stripes and darkens their coat until they look almost entirely black. Only a handful of them have ever been documented, nearly all from India's Similipal Tiger Reserve for reasons unknown to researchers across the world. Seeing a rhino with its full horn intact is becoming increasingly rare due to poaching. So many rhinos have been killed for their horns that conservation teams now remove them preemptively, making a full-grown one extremely uncommon. This colorized footage of Jerusalem in 1897 is the closest thing we have to a working time machine.
Wow. They got footage from 1897, bro. What else they got hidden in the vault, man? And my brain turning, bro. There's definitely some footage, man, that we haven't seen before, man. Where's the 100-point NBA game, bro? Where's that at, man?
This rarely seen deep-sea creature known as an oarfish washed ashore in Mexico earlier this year. Oarfish normally live thousands of feet beneath the surface and can grow up to 30 feet long, which is why their sudden beachings have fueled legends across the world for centuries. Their serpent-like bodies have inspired old nautical tales of sea monsters, and in Japan they're known as messengers from the sea god, believed to appear before major disasters.
Seen a couple of
Antarctica is a lot different than you think. Videos like this paint it as a barren yet beautiful land of ice and snow, but apparently there are leaked photos that show us they're trying to cover up something big down there. Back in 1912, Captain Robert Scott led an expedition to the South Pole to map it out and take some pictures. This was 47 years before the Antarctic Treaty of 1959, which heavily restricted tourist travel to the majority of Antarctica. For your own safety, of course. Now, these were the photos released by National Geographic of the expedition. Just some family-friendly fun adventure, right? But apparently that was just the tip. And if you know me, I do not like just the tip. Story goes, Robert Scott and his team went down there to map the South Pole. And these are the photos they took, which were hidden from the public and apparently recently got leaked. Ancient ruins, statues, and even what looked like pyramids of some long-lost civilization that they don't want anyone to know about. And the crazy part is, in March of 1912, just 2 months after these photos were taken, Robert and his whole team died on their journey back home due to starvation and extreme cold. And these photos got later recovered by some search party that found them. Now, doubters will tell you these photos are fake because Google told them, but even ancient maps painted Antarctica as green. And this map from 1512 even shows South America connecting to the Antarctic shoreline with incredible accuracy. Antarctica is twice the size of Australia and was thought to be ice-free as recently as 6,000 years ago. And we're supposed to believe ancient humans managed to find their way around every single continent in the world, even discovering the microscopic islands of the Pacific Ocean. And somehow they just fully skipped Antarctica even when it was a luscious green paradise. A lot of people argue these ancient ruins aren't real, and who knows, but you gotta keep an open mind, right? But what are confirmed real are these photos of what looks like a pyramid hidden under the snow in Antarctica. There are many photos that prove it exists, and even professors admit it. And obviously the Google debunkers will tell you, oh, it's a natural mountain formation formed through erosion, but I don't know what kind of looking ass mountains are cut this perfect. Even satellite footage confirms it, so I don't know, you think there's something down there, or are we the trippy ones?
Yep. Theories that LeBron hasn't retired yet just because they sacrifice all their players after.
Oh.
Yeah, and like that one is tricky, right? So I seen something where King James, like that's his nickname, right?
Yeah.
But there's a real King James, and when they won the championship in Cleveland on June 19th, that's when the real King James was born.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And yes. And they won by 13 points. Kobe was the 13th pick in the draft.
Now, okay, who's making these days though?
I'm pretty sure they're just doing that on purpose to be like, haha, they'll never understand what we're doing behind the scenes. Like, your favorite game is all planned. You know what I mean? You would never know because Kobe's the 13th pick like that. They just throw that in. Yeah.
An anteater stuck its tongue through your mouth and into your stomach. Did it remove the food you ate with its tongue? Well, their tongues can reach up to 2 feet, which is technically long enough to get to your stomach, but it would have to get past some tough twists and barriers inside the body first. After that, as it scraped for food, its quick flicking motion could tear up the delicate tissues inside, and when it pulled back its tongue to eat, it would drag up stomach acid with it, burning your throat and possibly drowning you in your own blood.
CEO of OpenAI just said he couldn't imagine raising a child without ChatGPT. So So Sam Altman was just interviewed on The Tonight Show, and during this interview, he said he couldn't imagine what it would have been like raising a newborn without ChatGPT. According to Sam, he apparently asked ChatGPT about very simple parenting questions. And at one point, Sam says that he was hanging out with another parent, and that parent told Sam that their 6-month-old was crawling everywhere. And Sam apparently asked ChatGPT if he needed to take his child to the doctor because his child apparently wasn't crawling everywhere at 6 months old. If we start using ChatGPT to raise kids, we might just be cooked, guys.
There ain't no mic, bro. That's confirmed, man. That's like raising an NPC, bro. Relying on ChatGPT. I understand GPT and AI is supposed to like help make our lives, I guess, more easier, things like that, man. But I feel like we're going down a dark road, man. When people are asking ChatGPT, bro, how to raise their kids, bro, we're gonna lose the ancient text, man. Fair to the future, you gonna know like what to do, bro. They're just gonna rely on ChatGPT, bro. How to change a diaper? Type it in, ChatGPT, bro. I'm gonna show you step by step. That's like the ancient text, bro. Should know how to do that, man. At least learn, bro. The real way, not by the freaking computer, bro. That ain't it.
You will find this video scary. Check it out.
The coach in the back do not care, bro. In perfect sync, though. I'll give him that.
Maybe it's because rumor has it that if any of these ladies mess up their routine, then they are actually... So they are cheering for literally their life.
Actually, we have taken 67 out of our system, so whenever we're taking orders, they go 66 to 68. Because of people like you.
Got tired of y'all, bro.
What's going on in New York, y'all? What's going on in New York, y'all? Look at this. The fake ones are leaving. The fake ones are leaving. They are panicking. Look at this, y'all. They're coming out of there like rats coming out of New York. What is going on over here? Oh my goodness. They must have got some crazy news or something big is about to go down. Look at the...
Only in Brooklyn, y'all gonna see 1 million what the fuck is going on? What's up? What the fuck? Chill for these niggas fuck around with hockey and something out here.
You guys know the age of Aquarius is about truth, and y'all know that these people have been living a complete lie for the past couple hundred centuries or whatever it is. So what do they know that we don't got them scrambling like this? What do they know? What do they know? Look at this shit, y'all. Look at Ratatouille. All I know is I'm ready to listen to some big news soon. What about y'all? I told y'all there's going to be some big truth bombs that are dropped that's going to make people's hearts stop. Remember the movie A Few Good Men? They can't handle the truth. So what do they know that we don't know right now? I told y'all that shift is intensifying and they're feeling it, y'all. Let me know that in the comments below what y'all think. Let's continue to get this shift. Peace.
The easiest horror movie characters to survive, part 3.
Here we go.
Now, last time I checked, the reason that the demon transfers is because you're about to see someone. I'm big brain, so why don't I just close my eyes before someone ends up doing that? And I avoid the demon altogether. There's no way he's going to transfer through my eyelids if they're shut. So as long as I don't see someone doing that, I should be good. You then have any version of Ghostface. Now, yes, I know there's multiple Ghostfaces. Sometimes 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. But they're all stupid. If you really look at these movies and you see how clumsy these characters are, they're just getting lucky. They're not actually making big brain plays. Most of the time, you're hitting them with fridges or outrunning them, throwing things down the stairs and they're getting tripped up. They're just normal people. If you find out that there's a mass unaliver in your town and it could possibly be your friend, hop in your car, check the back seat in the trunk, and dip. And if you have to fight them one-on-one, hopefully there's only one, but 9 times out of 10, you should be able to catch a break enough to run away. You then have my boy Jason Voorhees. Now, I'm not talking the 2009 remake where bro is a hunter and can sprint. I'm talking about normal, slow-walking Jason Voorhees. Most of the time, bro's only hanging out at Camp Crystal Lake. Just don't go camping at Camp Crystal Lake. Second, bro walks everywhere. Yes, extremely strong, super strength, inhuman durability. Just don't get in his way. I know I'm making it sound simple, but if you really think about it, in most of the movies, people are messing with him for no reason. Why are you coming back to Camp Crystal Lake? Stay home. Like and follow if you'd like to see a part 4.
Disturbing body facts that
would you guys survive?
Day if you have a surgery where your other organs need to be moved around, they might not function a day after the surgery because the body assumes they're just dead. Next, the brain is the last thing to function when you pass away, meaning in most cases you'll hear, feel, and smell your last moments on Earth. And it's possible to die from a pimple. Let me explain. If a pimple gets infected, let's say from you itching it, the infection could get into your bloodstream, causing you to have an intense fever. Then, a few days later, you will start having seizures and vomiting everywhere, so try not to play too much with your pimples. And finally, it's possible to get brain damage from a toothache, because if you have a tooth infection, there's a high chance of it getting to the brain if it's not taken care in time.
Man, I never even knew that. The more you know.
Elephants are the biggest crash outs in the animal kingdom, and no, that's not a weight joke. These drug merchants can be menaces when they want to be, and whoever decided to lie and make this up actively took names off the census, which the elephants don't need help doing, seeing as the pachyderms pass 10 to 500 people a year, allegedly. Y'all remember that elephant that broke out of a sanctuary, traveled over 100 miles just to life-deprive a 70-year-old senior citizen while she was getting water, and he stayed mad for 100 miles straight. Not only that, he pulled up to her funeral, grabbed her soul-divorced body, and said, you know what, 0 HP ain't enough, I need you in the negatives. Now, a lot of y'all said she deserved it because she was involved in poaching and elephant mafia slit, and yeah, that could be true. She also could have breathed, since sometimes that's all it takes. There's a reality where someone's grandmother got murked completely unprovoked. Got put on a shirt, except the shirt was reversible. Like all males, eventually elephants get to the point where all they want to do is multiply without a calculator. Damn, what's on the camera, did he? The problem is, when they're big enough to want it but not big enough to do something about it, they act out by attempting to off each other. Of course, sometimes they get frustrated when they smell the scent of a female on a baby, leading to them yeeting the baby. He really just Kobe the calf. He's fine though. Now, but the worst crash outs are the ones we created. So poaching, right? It's usually the older, bigger bulls that get hit the hardest, obviously. Problem is, without those same seasoned bulls, the younger, immature bulls start wilding all the way out. What happens when you get hormonal, teenage, 10,000-pound frat boys with no father figure? Hell if I know. For an elephant, fatherless behavior means turning an angry unicorn from a tight end to a whiteout. In the 90s, 3 angsty elephants murked not 1, not 2, not 10, but 63 rhinos got folded by the 3 musketeers of malice. It wasn't until they brought back the older seasoned bulls that the younger males fell back in line. They're chill most of the time, but let them flip that switch and they're editing the census with a backspace button. Still my favorite animal though.
A teacher is going to prison after making a teenager do something absolutely shocking. It was 2023 at South Fremont High School in St. Anthony, Idaho. That November, school teacher Jessica Lawson, age 36, was arrested. The story that would unfold would go on to shock the local community. Jessica was sat in the passenger seat of a car and police spotted it due to a damaged tailgate. And thank God police did stop this car. When officers looked inside, they found the teacher was with a teenage boy. Now, the teenager was actually driving the car and they decided to get them to pull over and to interview the boy in private. What they discovered was truly disturbing. The teacher had picked the child up from his parents' house. She allegedly gave him alcohol and substances and then had SA'd him. She ultimately made the teenager then drive her vehicle because she was too intoxicated. She was arrested and given 2 years in prison, but she could now be facing more time behind bars. This is for pleading guilty to battery of a child. He's also been given a 20-year no-contact order with the victim of this crime.
This doll is so dangerous, it's locked in a box. This doll right here is named Robert, and he's the most infamous doll in the entire world. And the story behind him will creep you out. In 1904, a little boy received Robert the doll as a birthday gift. At first there was nothing wrong, like he was just a normal doll. But then the little boy started saying strange things like, Robert made me do it, Robert told me to say this. And this little boy was very well behaved up until this point. He never got into trouble. But now he was getting into trouble every single day at school and blaming it on the doll. One day the family woke up to the little boy screaming on the floor with the doll on top of him with a knife. People even claim to see the doll moving. And now this doll is locked in a box in the Florida Keys. A lot of him that go to visit him think it's fake at first, but then they claim to feel some kind of demonic force once they actually go into the room. There's even a sign that makes you ask him for permission to take a photo. And they say if you don't, you end up having a lot of bad luck after. Do you think this could be demonic?
Animals with shock.
Dude, man, we be seeing that Robert doll in a couple of clips, so I think there's merit to those claims, especially about them. They saying how people be taking pictures of them when bad stuff happens to them. That's some dark energy in that Robert doll, bro. Stay away.
Shocking defense mechanisms. Horned lizard. This small reptile can shoot blood from its eyes as a defense mechanism. It lives in Northern and Central America. The blood contains chemicals that taste bad to predators, helping the lizard escape. Hairy frog. It is also known as the Wolverine frog because it can break its own bones and push them through its skin to form sharp claws when threatened. This horror frog lives in Central Africa.
The fastest things
Wolverine
in the world,
frog?
part 2.
Crazy.
Fastest internet, Singapore, 184.65 megabits per second. Fastest running insect, Australian tiger beetle, 5.6 miles per hour. Fastest woman, Florence Joyner, 22 miles per hour. Fastest helicopter, Boeing V-22 Osprey, 351 miles per hour. Fastest spacecraft, NASA's Parker Solar Probe, 93 miles per second.
This woman
Per
passed
second?
away a few hours after this photo was taken when she flew to Turkey for a mommy makeover. 38-year-old Cadell Brown flew from the UK to Istanbul with her sister Leanne, and she had a procedure done at Clinic Expert. Her procedure included a tummy tuck, liposuction, and BBL. The entire process leading up to the surgery was perfect. They even offered a discount for Cadell, and that's what made her want to do her surgery here. But things took a turn a few hours into the surgery when the doctor came out and told her sister that Cadell was dead. This is the doctor that performed her surgery, and she said that with these types of procedures, it is very high risk. Now, you would think that things could not get worse, but when Cadell's body was brought back to the UK, the coroner told her family that large parts of her organs were missing, such as her brain and her heart. During an interview, the sister said that legally they couldn't do anything and that the clinic was allowed to take the organs if they wanted to.
They returned a body, they'd kept pieces of her heart and her intestines. How hard was that to hear? Better. I don't think it was allowed, but they said it's legal, they can take what they want. I thought you'd have to ask at least permission from family before you took anything, but they sent a death certificate straight away, just put no, there's not even a cause of death.
But a lot of people believe that her organs were removed to sell them.
The dumbest conspiracy theories on Earth that people actually believe.
Break it down.
So, let's take a look. The moon doesn't exist. Right. Yeah, sure. People believe the moon is a hologram that is projected into the sky every night. What? Oh my days. Now, I'm sorry. The dinosaurs built the pyramids of Egypt. Yeah, I bet they did. Who is writing these? What? It says that it was written in the Old Testament that dinosaurs helped the Egyptians to build the Great Pyramids. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Lizard people are running the world. I'm not being funny, mate. This isn't Spider-Man. What? No. Approximately 12 million people in America believe that the government is made out of lizards. Guys, if you're watching this video, what are you doing? What are you doing?
They might be mad to the lizard ones, though. I've
Here
seen those
humans
clips.
that have actual superpowers. So Stephen Wiltshire is an artistic artist who can draw an entire cityscape inclusive of all architectural details from his memory after only seeing it once.
A loose goat returned home with a medal after he accidentally joined a half marathon over the weekend, and his owner only found out when she woke up to find social media flooded with photos of her goat in the middle of the race. Joshua the goat lives at a pumpkin patch in Conception Bay South, and the route for the town's very first Trailway Trek half marathon went right by his home. Mr. Joshua is a very friendly little guy, and he's used to following people around while accompanying his family on walks. So when he saw people running by, he must have thought it was a cue for him to join. Fueled by adrenaline, Joshua managed to escape his pen and started keeping pace with the runners as if he were a trained athlete. Volunteers tried to contain him, but Joshua was determined to run his race, dodging anyone who tried to stop him. Meanwhile, Heidi Taylor, the owner of Taylor's Pumpkin Patch, had no idea that Joshua had made his own morning plans until she happened to check social media and came face to face with dozens of photos of her goat mid-marathon. She used the post to track his location and showed up with his favorite snacks, which finally enticed him to take a break. Once he was secured on a leash, Heidi took Joshua to the finish line, where he was presented with a medal for finishing first place in the goat division. Joshua ran an estimated total of 3 miles, but in the eyes of the locals, he was the race's undisputed champion. He's now back home resting after after his big day. And Jen and I post something positive every day.
This is what the perfect human body looks like according to science. And yes, women would have bloody baby pouches. A group of anatomists wanted to see what a person would look like if the human body evolved for peak functionality, and then took inspiration from other species that do things better. So firstly, the human 2.0 would have a sturdy chimp's lower back and the shock-absorbing legs of an emu. Posing it here for all my feet people out there. Rare. To improve blood circulation, she has tiny pumps in her groin. I'm not hearing anybody else. Senses would be enhanced by having supersized eyes and the ears of a cat. Apparently titties are a flaw and had to go. Alright. Inside, we'd have the reliable heart of a dog, the graceful lungs of a swan, a choke-proof windpipe. To ensure a pain-free childbirth, women would nurse their babies in a marsupial pouch. So the question is, if this is what the perfect woman would look like, what would change for a man?
That's like it looked like a freaking human hybrid mixed up with just different animals combined. What were those? That's what the perfect, I guess they said evolutionized human look like. It's gonna look like in a couple of years. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's a head
An
turner.
animal that doesn't die? Giant Galapagos tortoise can live 150 years old. There was a quahog named Ming that was 500 years old. But this fascinating creature doesn't die. Tiny jellyfish are known as biologically immortal. If adults injured or can't find food, folds in on itself and turns back into a larva. Like a butterfly back to a caterpillar. So do they just live for millions of years? Still dies if it gets eaten.
Let's try to guess the religion of these YouTubers. Mr. Beast, I feel like he's Catholic, no? He's gotta be a Christian for sure. I know Chandler definitely is. Agnostic, really? I wouldn't expect that. Speed is Christian for sure. Not sure which denomination, but definitely Christian. Yep, there we go. Same with Kai. I feel like a lot of the streamers are religious. Yep, there we go. PewDiePie. Well, he's European, so I feel like there's a decent chance he's Christian. But he's a curveball, and he lives in Japan now, so maybe like a Buddhist. No atheist, really.
Okay.
Markiplier's a curveball to me. I feel like he could be anything. Maybe like agnostic for him. A-religious. So what's that, like non-religious basically? Aiden Ross is Jewish for sure. Yep, Jewish. And then, I know Ryan Tran's like a converted Christian. He's big into God now. Yep. Alright, nice.
Things humans weren't meant to see.
Okay. Did any of those YouTubers shock you? I ain't gonna lie, we're gonna have to call Cap on this, man. It's a good edit though, but yeah, I'm calling Cap. Yeah, that's Cap. Like I said, if y'all see anything that's Cap, bro, I need your help. Call it out. So we can learn together, man. This should be trending worldwide of footage like this actually got out. Wait, what the heck? Looks like a damn dog.
Things that only 0.01% of people can do. Touching your nose with your tongue. Yeah, I can't do it. Apparently some people can't just raise one eyebrow. I think I can do it. And apparently some people can't cross their eyes, and I'm pretty sure I just did it. Sneeze with your eyes open. Okay, that's impossible. Nobody can do that. Apparently rolling your tongue is super rare. So apparently I'm a rare person. Apparently some people can bend their hand upwards. How is that possible?
People who turn themselves
Can any of you guys do that, bro? I couldn't do none of that.
into animals. Toko-san, a Japanese man has spent 12,000 pounds on a hyper-realistic costume to fulfill his lifetime dream of being an animal. He commissioned Zephyr, a company that makes costumes for TV adverts and films, to produce his bespoke costume. Took them 40 days.
First human dog.
Did you know there might be a
Okay.
dead body in the cargo space of the next airplane you fly in, and you wouldn't even know? Hello, and welcome to Not So Fun Facts, a series where I tell you unsettling facts. Back in the 18th and 19th centuries, dentures were sometimes made out of dead soldiers' teeth. As you can imagine, they didn't last very long. Have you ever felt something so cold that it felt hot? Some people who die of hypothermia are found naked because as their body temperature drops, they start to feel burning hot and take off their clothes, leading to an even quicker death. Like and follow for more.
There was something evil in this woman's room, because it looked like her dog was telling her she saw something that her owner couldn't. A woman in Sydney was woken up at 5 a.m. by her dog, Coda. She started shaking uncontrollably and looking at something that was in the room with them.
Mm-hmm. She's shaking. It's like getting in a defensive
The
position.
woman kept looking to see what it was, but she couldn't see anything. But strangely, Coda was on the fence the whole time.
You can see she's trying to protect its owner. Dogs can
Coda
see
then
the
hopped
spirit.
in the bed, keeping her eyes on whatever was there, aggressively growling at it. What exactly did Coda see in that room? And what would you do in this situation? Let me know what you think.
I'm getting the hell out the roof.
She's known as the most haunted doll in Iowa and one of the most haunted dolls in the United States. It's said that Ginger is possessed by a demon. People have seen her move by herself. She's been recorded jumping off of tabletops, and people have watched her pick things up. Nobody knows what type of a spirit is inside of Ginger, but she's kept locked in this box because people are so afraid of her. Look into her eyes, and you might see a demon. The full video of us investigating Ginger at the haunted Malvern Manor will be out this Wednesday on the Paranormal Files, my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio.
Robert got some competition, bro. Robert versus Ginger. Who gonna win? Haunted dogs.
Psychology hacks you need to know. If someone is trying to make you decide something in a hurry, they're most likely giving you a bad deal, and you should just walk away. If a person is trying to intimidate you, stare at their forehead with a blank expression. This will psychologically make them self-conscious. Chewing gum when you're nervous really does help, because your brain thinks, I'm eating, so I must not be in danger. If you want to know if someone is interested in what you're saying, cross your arms. If they cross their arms too, this is called mirroring, and it actually means they're interested in the conversation. If you need to remember to do something tomorrow, just put something in your room out of place. The next day, you'll see this item out of place, and you'll remember why you put it there. Finally, if two people are arguing, stand in between them and eat something. It'll help alleviate the tension.
Really? I've seen that a couple of times before. I wonder why people did
Things
that.
almost no humans can do, apart from not shot, and if you can, then you're bloody weird. This is where you bend your thumb back onto your hand like that. Only 1% of humans can actually do this. Try this video if you can do it.
I can't. You guys try.
Humans were never meant to see. They strapped a camera on a shark, and look what it captured.
Hold on. Shark GoPro?
You can see the camera is attached. Now, as the shark goes deeper in the water, you won't believe the shocking sighting it caught. Wait for it.
What it saw?
Now look closely.
You guys see it? Oh, that's like looks like a big hand. What the fuck?
Here it comes.
Oh, I thought we already saw it. What the fuck?
Is that a mermaid?
If kids' drawings were real, easily one of the most creepiest videos I think I've ever looked at. I mean, the one I think terrifies me the most. It's just strange, distorted faces, man. Gosh, this is like nightmare fuel. And the cat,
It is. It's pure nightmare fuel, bro.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This is how many lives of politicians were ended in Mexico just in the first half of 2024. Any country in blue on this map used to display people at zoos. This map shows air quality in Europe. Dark blue is the cleanest air, and red is the air that can cause problems. This map shows every nuclear power plant in the world, with green being operational, red being shut down, and blue being under construction. In the state in red is where a popular adult entertainment website has been banned as of July 1st. This map shows where all of the pirate attacks have been located in the 21st century, with red being the very hot areas. There are 1 billion people in each individual color on this map. This map shows the topography of Peru, and this map shows the topography of Germany. These are the hottest temperatures that have ever been recorded in every U.S. state. This map shows which gender has the highest BMI on average. The red countries are where more women have a higher BMI, and the blue countries are where more men have a higher BMI. And yellow is just equal.
I saw a lot of red, bro. And blue. Man, you gotta do better, bro.
Let's talk about some of the craziest true crime documentaries that are coming out in October. Because I
Talk
think
about
we're
it.
going to get some of the best of the year. The Menendez brothers are getting a documentary on Netflix where they're actually going to tell their own story. This is, of course, coming on the heels of the Netflix Ryan Murphy show about them, but in this one, they're actually interviewed. Also, I'm Kaylin, and I love giving recommendations if you want to follow along. And then 2 days later, we're actually getting a Scamanda documentary on Hulu. That's the story of how Amanda Riley scammed people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars by pretending to have cancer. It was originally a podcast, and so was Sweet Bobby, which is also getting a documentary this month. It follows one of the craziest catfishing stories I've ever heard, and you kind of just have to see it to believe it. And this one's kind of crazy, but there was a Chris Brown documentary kind of made in secret called A History of Violence. It's going to be on Hulu, and it was actually made by the people who made Quiet on Set earlier this year. And then in time for spooky season, Disney Plus is putting out Witches, The Truth Behind the Trials. It promises to tell a kind of unknown history about the witch trials starting back when they were taking place in Europe. And then the one I'm probably the most excited for is a Netflix doc called This Is the Zodiac Speaking. It's a 3-part docuseries that apparently really focuses in on one suspect in the Zodiac case. Which ones are you going to be watching this month?
The Brittany Poser.
You guys gonna check that out?
I think it's safe to say this might be the best horror movie of this year. You literally have Art the Clown unaliving a Santa Claus with a chainsaw. He's then gonna wear his suit. Well, with the fact that Art the Clown is finally coming to a video game, he's gonna be in Call of Duty in the next couple days. He's finally starting to get the recognition he deserves. With that, here's every theory in my own theory for Terrifier 3. Starting with my own, at some point Sienna's gonna be going to the 9th Circle of Hell, aka the first spot Art the Clown took his victims in order to get immortality. She's gonna go there and either sacrifice herself or someone else, or put something up as fodder in order to get Art the Clown off of Earth. Then I have a theory online speculating that the final girl from the first movie is going to be possessed by a demon and try to unalive Art the Clown with Sienna and her brother. Now that made sense to me for a while, until I took another look at the original photo that came out for this movie. She's with Art the Clown sitting on top of an unalived Santa Claus. Is Art the Clown the demon that's possessing her? I think that's a massive possibility. It's that strong. I've also been seeing theories online that this is young Sienna, and her first time seeing Art the Clown. She was over at her friend's house or at a sleepover during Christmas time. Art the Clown came in and unalived everybody's parents, and that's where his obsession with her started, hence the reason he's all about her. Me personally, I genuinely have no idea where this movie's going. All I know is it's going to be absolutely insane, and the first 5 minutes are going to shock everybody.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This is
Yeah,
a
no,
prediction
check
of
out
what the
scary
world is
movies,
going to
though.
look like 250 million years from now. These are the CO2 emissions across the Indian subcontinent, with the lightest, whitest areas being the highest.
Damn.
This map shows all of the foreign military presence that is sitting in Africa right now. This map shows the most valuable Italian brands and where exactly they came from. If you draw a straight line between the northernmost point and southernmost point in the contiguous United States, along with the westernmost point to the easternmost point, the lines do not intersect. This map shows what the size of the Great Lakes would look like if it was in Europe. This map shows which state you could find the highest percentage of people with ancestry from every European country. This map shows where every popular sitcom took place. Every red dot on this map is a football pitch or a soccer field if you're from the United States. This map shows that in 1990, most of the United States had 15% or less obese adults in their state, where less than 30 years later, now almost every state has more than 25% obesity rates.
The deadliest game show I bet
Sad.
you've never heard of. The show was called The Chamber, and only 3 episodes aired before it was canceled.
Why cancel it so soon? Well, they literally tortured the contestants. The game was rather simple. In the pre-game face-off, 2 contestants would go back and forth answering questions. The winner moved on to the main game. The loser was sent home packing. The main game is where you would enter into the chamber. You were offered a $500 buyout if you didn't want to go any further, but nobody took it. When you entered the chamber, you would be strapped into a chair and hooked up to electrodes, muscle contractors, and medical equipment. And then a computer would choose whether you got the hot chamber or the cold. Once the chamber was sealed, the game began, and your goal was simple. Answer as many questions as quickly as you can while surviving the environmental torture that was thrown at you. In the hot chamber, they could increase the temperature up to 170 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hell no.
Simulated earthquakes would also shake the chamber, going up to a 9.5 on the Richter scale. The more you progressed, the more the muscle contractors would activate. The chair would move back and forth, up and down, and rotate in complete circles. They would even drop the oxygen levels in the chamber, as well as blasting you in the face with winds up to 140 miles an hour. The cold chamber was equally as torturous, honestly if not worse. The temperature could drop to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. In the cold chamber, instead of rotating the chair, they would be sprayed with water jets, causing ice to form on the players. The game would end in a few different ways. If you answered 2 questions in a row wrong, you were out. If the medical team felt you were going to pass, you were also out. You could also yell "stop the chamber" to forfeit, which, surprise, surprise, nobody did. A total of 6 episodes were made, and the 3 unaired episodes reportedly had an insect chamber, an electric shock chamber, and a water torture chamber.
No.
The most you could have won on the show was around $120,000.
What?
The most anybody ever actually won was $20,000. That person, Scott Brown, got through all 7 levels of the cold chamber and was actually hospitalized afterwards. He then
Alright, y'all check this out. Okay, so everybody kept asking, test all the foods, so that's exactly what I'm doing.
Alright.
All the foods that I love are tainted, y'all. I'm not even joking. This right here makes me so mad. Like, we just got these. And y'all can plainly see there's nothing white on top of this oatmeal cream pie.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So y'all check this out. Look at that. What in the hell is going on? Y'all, I don't care what anybody says in the comments. That's not normal. I don't care. That's not normal.
It's contaminated.
I mean, it's only certain parts of it. Even the cream on the inside, you can't see it, it's smashed, but it don't even glow, and it's white. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. It's blown my mind. Like, when I'm done doing these series, I'm not going to be able to eat nothing.
Me either. I'll have to stay on this.
That's insane, y'all. Like, this makes me so mad. This is approved by the FDA. Millions of people eat these. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody in the South eats oatmeal cream pies pretty much. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I'm going to start doing restaurant foods. And then we'll go from there. I mean, what can you do? I wanted to share that with y'all. Here y'all go. Oatmeal cream pie under a black light. That's crazy.
Have you seen the video of the alien walking the streets of Atlanta? Don't know what I'm talking about? Take a look at this.
Hey, space guy, man. Hey, bro, hey, can you tattoo alien flesh? Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, but I'm trying to get 2 teardrops, but can you know, I took out the 4 whole solar system, but hell, you come out, well, you know I need a teardrop, big time, well. What's that, Zola? Yeah, well, RP Zola, you know I'm going for you, RP that, what?
People in Atlanta are starting to believe that we have a real alien living amongst us and walking amongst us.
Yeah, well, RP Zola, you know I'm going for you, RP that.
I think this is some kind of costume, bro.
Hey, well, I'm still sitting behind that shit. Hey, man. Shit, y'all licking shit.
So if you're from the Atlanta area, let me know if you've run into the alien from Atlanta, and what are your thoughts? Real, or is that some type of costume? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's definitely a costume, man. He's in Atlanta. He need to hop on the stream with Kai, bro.
Nobody but me find this story crazy. This baby right here was technically conceived in 1994, but now born in 2024. Let that sink in. This baby was sitting in a freezer for 30 years. This baby has been in the freezer as long as some of y'all been alive. I'm talking about a full embryo in a cryogenic sleep for 3 decades, y'all. I only heard about this shit on sci-fi movies.
Yep.
But this is real life. These people trying to play God. Bruh, this baby has been frozen since Bill Clinton was the president. This shit is crazy, fool. And the couple was a couple out of Tennessee that did this. This baby got to skip out on a lot of shit that was going on. But it's crazy for them to have this baby now in this era. Cause I know this baby like, what the fuck? Now, I don't know what's wilder. The fact that this baby survived on ice for 30 plus years, or the fact that the scientists let this happen in the first place. Imagine telling these people, I want my baby to be frozen for 30 years and then I'm gonna have him. Do y'all know how crazy that shit sound? They already unlocking the next level of human cloning at this point. Then what I think about now is, I know this is not the only baby that's frozen. If they did it to this baby, how many other babies is frozen? This might be a newborn baby, but I'm telling you, this junk gonna come out with an old soul. Something nobody has ever seen before.
Tay just made an OnlyFriend. Not only did she just make $1 million in 3 hours, the pictures that Lil Tay is posting is not only concerning, but also scary. As soon as she turned 18, she did exactly what Bad Baby did. And first off, I need to know who the people who are subscribing to this, because they need to be put on a list. But they just got what they deserved after the pictures that they actually got from Lil Tay. And this is where it gets more worse. A lot of people thought that she took these pictures before she turned 18, and that the dudes that are buying this are literally spawn camping, because she has been talking about this for the past few weeks, and some of these people that have been saying that they've been waiting for this make me sick to my stomach. And thank God Lil Tay said that all of this was filmed after she turned 18, because she has been on the internet for so long, and the people that are consuming this new Lil Tay content have probably known who she is for a while now. But this is where it gets even more insaner. I wish I could make $1 million in 3 hours, and literally everybody on the internet is saying that all the pictures that Lil Tay is posting is literally nothing special. Basically posting glorified Instagram pictures. Do you feel bad for Lil Tay? Let me tell you some.
That's just insane, man. This is the society we live in, bro.
Interesting things that I just learned. Tears that are triggered by sadness, happiness, and onions all apparently appear different under a microscope. Bras were called breast bags in medieval times. A skyscraper called walkie-talkie, I guess because it looks like one, was melting cars and damaging buildings due to its ability to focus sunlight because of the concave shape that it was built in. That's just unfortunate, putting all that work in. Oh my goodness. 2 men climbed Mount Everest and then paraglided off the summit, touching down over 19 miles away in only 42 minutes, which allowed them to avoid the potentially deadly 3-day descent. Now that's what I call a shortcut. The Big Zero is a soccer stadium in Brazil where the midfield line is basically aligned with the equator, which causes each team to defend one hemisphere or the other. American Airlines saved $40,000 by eliminating one olive from its first-class salads back in 1987. So that $40,000 was worth a lot more than it is now. The guy that named the movie Cars got a $300,000 bonus and reportedly was paid over $700,000 a year. Sometimes simplicity is just the way to go. Cars. Bulgaria sold 213,000 Bitcoin in 2018, which would now be worth $25 billion and actually would be more than enough to clear their entire national debt.
How is time travel not real? When James Franco and his brother are in a magazine from 1972. Watch this. Old, adult magazine from 1972. That is James Franco and his brother. You can't convince me otherwise.
Similarities, I see.
Either they are time travelers or immortal vampires who never unalive, ever. Either way, it's super crazy. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay weird.
There's this girl on TikTok who is claiming to have proof that her neighbor is watching her through her window. At first, I didn't see what everybody else was seeing. I didn't know what they were talking about. Turn up the brightness on your phone, then throw the phone out the window. A full-blown face in the window. People were in the comments and they were like, why haven't you contacted the police about this? Other people in the comments were saying, she did. The police are not following up on it. Like pulling that card like, is this person actively trying to break in? Has this person caused you harm before? That's why they're not doing anything. What would you do in this situation?
Imagine a bakery making you a sandwich that pisses you off so bad you come back 4 years later to stab somebody. That's exactly what happened in this case. 2 deli workers were stabbed over an angry customer that had a bad sandwich from here 4 years ago. And it wasn't that it tasted bad. The customer had a certain allergy to something. However, he was served that thing anyways and it made him sick. So he was plotting and scheming like the damn Joker for years. And I need to emphasize again, this was 4 years ago. It happened in Paterson, New Jersey. The 2 brothers that owned the bakery were the ones attacked. Their names are Assad and Mohammed. They've owned the bakery for decades. Suspect apparently confronted one of the girls that was working there, and then he used a box cutter to attack the brothers. Also, to be clear, 4 years ago, they tried to make it right with the guy. You know, the order was wrong, they acknowledged that. They even offered to give him, like, free stuff and, like, other things like that. They even offered him more compensation just because, you know, he had an allergic reaction, but he refused. Now, for the sandwich in question, he ordered an egg sandwich years ago, but he got an eggplant sandwich, and apparently he's allergic to that. As for the brothers that got stabbed, they're being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. They're hospitalized right now, so, I mean, I'm glad they're okay. This might be the crash out of the week. I would say crash out of the century, but people crash out crazy every week and they surprise me.
I fell into the Stillwater. Help! Yep, we're talking about Stillwater again today. Here is a flooded bank vault with a bunch of Stillwater and probably more brain-eating amoebas than dollars. Who wants to go into the flooded cellar of doom that probably has Pennywise in it and Stillwater? I don't remember why I saved this. This isn't even Stillwater. That's just a creepy lizard. This Stillwater Ussie. And here is a picture of some Stillwater with its bacteria in it. That is vile. Here's Stillwater under a microscope, in case you were wondering. Do not ever jump in that stuff. You will be, unfortunately, exited from this earth. This looks like my matcha water that I drink every day. But you know what? I'm not gonna let it stop me from loving matcha. That giant pipe in that Stillwater like that, that looks disgusting. Look, it's a pool full of Diet Coke.
No,
it's
it
not
ain't.
Diet Coke. And once again, this water looks like if you fell in it, you would become the Hulk or Shrek. And the worst photo of Stillwater that has ever existed. I don't know where this is, but there is at least 5 billion diseases in that little pool alone. How do you feel?
The Grand Canyon is on fire. In fact, it's been on fire for almost a month. And it's not even like it's small. Over 1,000 firefighters have been struggling to contain 2 fires. One called White Sage, we'll get to that, and the other called Dragon Bravo, which are on and around the North Rim. So far, they've burnt the equivalent of 113,000 football fields, destroyed close to 100 structures, including homes of park officials, a visitor center, a gas station, a water plant, and even the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. And the reason you may or may not have seen people freaking out about this on TikTok is because white sage is a sacred medicinal plant, often burnt by Native American tribes for cleansing and purification. Lord knows we need some of that right now. And authorities currently believe that both fires were started by lightning, believe it or not. Oh, they really don't want us to see August. The white sage fire is currently 83% contained, while Dragon Bravo, on the other hand, is only 4% contained. And recent reports say that it tripled in size in just 3 days. See you in August. Hopefully.
They're saying that one person is dead and 22 people are sick from Legionnaires' disease in Harlem. And if you don't know about Legionnaires' disease, it's not a disease that spreads from person to person. It's a bacteria that spreads like mist. So this bacteria is often found in water, and it usually hides in cooling towers on the top of buildings. The same cooling towers that gives building air conditioning, which means the mist from those air conditionings spreads throughout people. And that's how Legionnaire disease goes from person to person. So basically, you can be walking past one of these places and take a deep breath, and that bacteria can go into your lungs and you're infected. And this infection is sort of like pneumonia. And when some people acquire this bacteria, they don't make it. So if you're having pain in your chest, diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, fevers or chills, you might need to go see a doctor. Because again, 22 people are sick and one person has already lost their life. And of course, we're talking about New York City. We're talking about Harlem. That means that there's a lot of people walking around through these areas and they don't even know this is happening. Pay attention.
An orangutan was kept in a brothel, dressed up, and forced to live like a human. Pony was taken from the wild as a baby in Borneo after her mother disappeared. Instead of freedom, they trapped her in a place where she was treated like a possession, but not kindly. They kept her in a brothel made to wear clothes and makeup and forced her to be around people all day long. The really sad and disgusting part is this wasn't a secret, this wasn't hidden. Many people in the village knew what was happening. In fact, when a team arrived to rescue her, they faced resistance. Some locals did not want Pony to leave. It took a huge effort from a lot of people to be able to bring her to safety. So sad. Like, after the rescue, Pony was deeply traumatized. She even forgot how to behave like an orangutan and had to relearn basic skills like eating natural food or climbing trees. Pony's story really shows us why protecting wild animals and their home is so important. This is not the only story like this, as crazy as that is. Without this kind of protection, animals can suffer in ways that people could never even imagine. What do you think should be done to help animals like Pony? Follow for more.
Apparently there's
Good thing Pony's free.
that went on 4chan recently, a couple weeks ago, and he's like, they found in this cave in Antarctica this egg-shaped UFO looking thing, which that's what we talked about a week ago.
Yeah.
And apparently after this came out, it gave this one guy the courage to disclose this stuff that they found in Antarctica, supposedly, of this same egg-shaped UFO that they found. But what's also strange is we talked about the hieroglyphics that a lot of people reported seeing on these UFOs. Same thing happened with this UFO, where there's really weird hieroglyphics all over it. Also, there's like a weird catacomb or like a coffin. It looked like a marble sarcophagus, very similar to the one that we talked about in Russia where that lady was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first picture, some of it looks almost like Hebrew.
Yeah.
That looks just like that letter in Hebrew. That one. Super weird, but apparently they're calling him an alien, but he looked like a tall, Nordic-looking man, very pale skin, long blonde hair, 7-8 feet tall, was in that sarcophagus, woke up, and was conversing with them.
Robots are...
So we got freaking alien eggs in Antarctica. You know, some weird things be going down there, but that's my first time hearing about it.
stealing human jobs faster than anyone predicted, and 8 major industries just proved human workers are becoming completely obsolete. Waymo autonomous taxis are already serving 200,000 paid rides per week with 0 human drivers, while Amazon deployed 750,000 warehouse robots that sort packages faster and more accurately than any human worker. In China, robotic gas station attendants refuel cars without human help, and robot chefs trained on 5 million recipes are cooking restaurant-quality meals with perfect precision every single time. Boston Dynamics robots are now operating professional film cameras and performing backflips while capturing movie scenes, completely replacing human camera operators who spent decades mastering their craft. The most terrifying example is robots repairing high-voltage power lines because utility companies realize machines never get electrocuted, never fall, and never demand overtime pay or health insurance. These aren't prototypes or future concepts. Every single one of these robots is working right now, earning money for companies while human workers get laid off and replaced. From taxi drivers to warehouse workers to professional chefs, robots are proving they can do almost every job better, faster, and cheaper than the humans who used to do them. The job apocalypse isn't coming in 10 years, it's happening today, while most people are still pretending their careers are safe from automations. Which job will be the last one that robots can't steal from humans?
The ring of... What do you guys think, Seekers, man? That's scary, bro. Robots are just infiltrating the jobs and taking them all away from humans, man. That's crazy, bro. No industry is safe. Guess some, maybe like probably like sports, maybe entertainment. I don't know, but who knows, man? Maybe they probably gonna try to infiltrate those fields as well. Be careful out there, man. If you have a job, Like, we gotta think of a side hustle or something.
Fire is active, and I think we have reached the point of no return. We have been having earthquake after earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. This one is in the U.S. Back to back to back earthquakes, and these are not little earthquakes either. Ring of Fire having so much activity that a 500-year-old volcano just erupted in Russia. Let's not forget to mention all of the other volcanoes that's waking up across the world too. And I told y'all we was gonna start seeing a lot more activity after them underwater currents did a reverse. This is what caused the day after tomorrow to happen. Go watch this movie. We have been getting hit with non-stop earthquakes all over the world. Now, know this is the part of the video where I bring up Matthew 24, nation rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and it be earthquakes in strange places. Those are the signs of birthing pains. Keep making videos and letting y'all know that we on borrowed time, gang. It's time to get your life right with Jesus, because all of these earthquakes that's happening, volcanoes erupting, just signs of the second coming. Now, y'all let me know what y'all think about these earthquake swarms that's happening all across the world in the comments. Like a follow for more wisdom. Stay tuned. And remember, if you want to grow your social media and get paid a passive revenue, comment down below, hub, and I'm going to send the resources in your DMs.
Here's every celebrity that Trisha Paytas has reincarnated in her womb. The dates and the times of these coincidences are insane, and why she decided to get her tubes removed, therefore never giving birth or reincarnating ever again. So just yesterday, it was announced that Trisha Paytas gave birth to her third child, a boy named Aquaman. And no, I'm not kidding. And when it was announced that Aquaman was born, literally, it was uncanny how the announcement of Ozzy Osbourne's death was announced 1 minute before. You could not make this stuff up. And in all seriousness, RIP to Ozzy Osbourne. But what's even crazier is that, guess who hosted Ozzy Osbourne's farewell concert just a couple weeks before he died? Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman. And then Ozzy Osbourne gets reincarnated into Aquaman. And this is how Ozzy is living it up now. He's already in his little Aquaman suit. Trisha put on her Aquaman shirt right after giving birth. He's really going off the rails on a crazy train now. And Trisha's response to her most recent reincarnation was liking a comment that said, "You should have taken Trump, not Ozzy." Now this whole Trisha Paytas' womb is the portal to reincarnation conspiracy theories started when Queen Elizabeth died on September 8th, 2022. And then Trisha Paytas' first child, Malibu Barbie, was born on September 14th, 2022.
I don't understand why my womb is carrying all these souls.
Now, a lot of people thought Trisha Paytas' second child, Elvis, was actually the reincarnation of the Pope, but the Pope actually died a little bit too early for that to be the case. Trisha Paytas' second daughter, Elvis, is actually the reincarnation of O.J. Simpson, who died just a couple weeks before she was born. But sadly, this conspiracy theory that Trisha Paytas always gives birth right when a very notable public figure dies and reincarnates them is now coming to an end because Trisha said she had to get her tubes removed because she's had 3 C-sections and it wouldn't be safe or optimal for her to give birth again, so her and her doctors decided to remove her tubes after her last birthing of Aquaman. And I love how Trisha has always been in on the joke. She knows the internet just likes to have a little bit of fun.
The whole movie was a metaphor for using artists to bring people to the dark side.
Oh, that's
the whole movie was a metaphor. I watched it again recently, and it clicked in my head, bro. In that one scene, remember what happened when the main vampire was saying, "Just give us Sammy, and then we'll leave you guys alone." Yeah, Sammy. Yeah,
Sammy. You're the one I came for. I want to see my people again. I'm trapped here, but your gifts can bring them to me.
He said to, "I just want Sammy for his talent." Okay. So he wanted his talent. Why? Because the way he was attracting more and more people was through music. Through music, using musical artists because it's a spiritual thing regardless, but you can manipulate where they go.
Oh, that's so much.
And they use songs and music in worship. They use it everywhere. Yeah. But they also use it in the clubs and parties, right? But if the things you guys are chanting together are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that energy is coming towards you guys, and if it's violent things, it's like casting a spell.
Insane Lawsuits, Part
Right in
1.
front of us.
In 2009, a Canadian woman named Karen Salas sued Keanu Reeves for $150,000 a month in child support and $3 million in spousal support, claiming he had fathered her 4 adult children. She alleged that Reeves had used hypnosis and even shapeshifting to disguise himself as her ex-husband before impregnating her. Reeves denied ever meeting her, and a DNA test confirmed he was not the father. Despite Salas' bizarre claims that the DNA test was tampered with, the judge dismissed dismissed the case as baseless and a waste of court resources. Reeves later referred to the ordeal as horrible. Anna Ayala famously sued Wendy's after claiming she found a human finger in her bowl of chili. But investigators soon discovered she planted it herself. It was a severed finger she received from a friend who had lost it in a workplace accident. She was later sentenced to 9 years in prison for attempted grand theft. In the 90s, a student named John Leonard tried to claim a Harrier jet that Pepsi jokingly offered in a commercial for 7 million Pepsi points. He legally submitted enough money to buy the points, but Pepsi refused. Leonard sued, but the court ruled that the ad was clearly a joke and dismissed the case, saying no reasonable person would think a military jet was a real offer.
4 bodies, all found within close proximity of one another and within a 4-day window. This is weird. It has been quite a chilling week for the North Yorkshire seaside town of Whitby. Personal favourite of mine, actually. Just listen to this. On July 30th, 2 bodies were airlifted to hospital. 1 male, 1 female. That was from point 1. It was believed that the pair had fallen off the cliff, and the police said there was nothing suspicious. The very next day, July 31st, a woman in her 60s was found at the bottom of the cliffs at point 2. Police deemed it to be consistent with falling from a height and then ruled it not to be suspicious. Then on Saturday, August the 2nd, the body of a woman in her 50s was found at point 3. Again, her injuries were consistent with a fall and police deemed it not to be suspicious. That concludes 4 bodies within a 4-day window, all within the same area, very, very close. How is that not suspicious?
Do you have to be to try to take someone's life just because you felt like you deserved a bigger tip? A pregnant woman was almost stabbed to death because she tipped the delivery driver $2. Melinda Irizarry, her boyfriend, and 5-year-old daughter were at a hotel in Kissimmee, Florida, celebrating her 5th birthday when they decided to order some pizza. The delivery driver, 22-year-old Brianna Alvello, was not too happy when she received a $2 tip. She left, but then came back a little later, but this time with a man, and they were both wearing black, and when they went inside the motel, they attacked Melinda. The man brought the boyfriend into the bathroom, and Brianna began stabbing Melinda while Melinda protected her 5-year-old daughter. Melinda was stabbed a total of 14 times to her arms, chest, legs, and stomach. Luckily, Melinda survived, and when she was at the hospital, she found out that she was pregnant. To try to murder someone over a tip?
People who survived unsurvivable things. Romil Broom. He survived the electric chair.
Damn, how many times he went?
Tsutomu Yomaguchi. He survived 2 atomic bombs.
That has to be the luckiest
Dick
man alive.
Williams. Survived the Titanic. Jacob Miller. He got shot between the eyes and survived. Jumiso Mona. This man fought with a leopard and killed it. Alison Botha. She survived being kidnapped and beheaded.
These conjoined brothers who are attached at the hip do not want to be separated. Shivanath and Shivram Sahu are conjoined twins from India who are attached at the waist. The twins share 2 legs and 4 arms, but have separate hearts and brains, and despite sharing a body, they actually live a pretty normal life. They're able to shower, eat, and dress themselves, and they even found out a way to ride their bike to school together. However, life is about to get a lot more complicated for the twins, as doctors say they can't actually be separated. If they tried to, the weaker one, Shivanath, would most likely die. Shivram, the stronger one, would most likely retain both legs and live a normal life. But the twins say even if they could afford the surgery, they wouldn't do it. Because any challenge they face in life, they want to face together.
That's true brotherhood right there, man. And its purest
Disney
form.
characters that existed in real life. The Red Queen, Alice in Wonderland. Queen Elizabeth I.
Terrifying facts you wish you never knew. We eat about 2 pounds of flies, maggots, and other bugs each year without knowing. Hold up. The cheese in fast food restaurants are loaded with so many artificial chemicals that it's barely cheese you're eating. In 2004, an Iranian girl became disfigured and blind after a man threw acid on her face for rejecting his marriage proposal. The law wanted to make him pay money and give him jail time, but the girl pleaded with the courts to drop 20 drops of acid on his eyes instead. The courts ended up agreeing with her punishment. Not a single comment on this video has 0 likes. In 2021, a 41-year-old man named Jerry Smith was posing as a woman on Tinder named Angie Renee. He then matched with 18-year-old football player Isimemen Itoot. After they met up and did the nasty, Itoot realized that Angie was actually a man. That's when he stomped and beat the man to death. Last year, he was acquitted of all murder charges. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. An octopus is so flexible that it is capable of entering through your mouth, traveling through your digestive tract, and coming out your booty hole. Should I do a part 6?
I'm gonna call cap on the last part. Can an octopus really do that? I know they're flexible and all, but coming out your butthole? What the hell? I can't believe that, bro. The hotel?
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day. You are the oldest that you have ever been and the youngest that you will ever be. Your bed absorbs 26 gallons of your sweat every year. There are 15 dead people for every 1 person alive. Science can't measure exactly how strong a gorilla is, so there's no sure way on how to contain them. The gorilla enclosures at zoos are just based on trust. Every 18 minutes, someone in the United States has a brain aneurysm that ruptures. Vampire moths are real and can feed on the blood of humans. A jar of peanut butter contains 10 or more rodent hairs and can contain up to hundreds of insect fragments. Big Bird almost joined NASA's Challenger mission to help kids become more interested in space. Millions of kids would have watched Big Bird and the Challenger space shuttle explode on live television. Follow for more.
That truly saved them. Imagine that. I mean, Sesame Street.
3 completely false facts about animals that everyone believes. Number 3. It is commonly believed that if you touch a baby bird, its mother will reject it because of your scent. This is actually a myth. Most birds have a relatively weak sense of smell, and are therefore not likely to reject their offspring because they carry a human odor. However, it is better not to touch wild birds for other reasons, including the risk of stressing the animal and the transmission of diseases. Number 2. Another widely spread myth is that rice thrown at weddings can kill birds that eat it by causing their stomach to swell. This is actually false. Birds regularly eat rice in the wild with no problem. This misconception is so prevalent that some American states have even banned the throwing of rice at weddings, although the main reason is rather to avoid a mess. Number 1. The idea that pit bulls are inherently dangerous and harmful is widespread but incorrect. In reality, no dog is naturally aggressive or dangerous. A dog's behavior is primarily determined by its upbringing, treatment, and environment, not its breed. Studies have shown that pit bulls can be as gentle and loving as any other dog breed when they are properly socialized and treated with respect.
Dirty animal facts that biology class definitely didn't teach you. Part 1. Diego, the unstoppable sex tortoise who is 100 years old, lives on the Galapagos archipelago and has fathered over 800 tortoises. When a male anglerfish meets a female, he fuses with her body, donating his brain, heart, and eyes, pretty much becoming a pair of testicles dangling from her body. Hey darling, nice testes. In 1912, biologists had to cover up the first published studies of penguins after observing them being the literal worst. Male on male penguin action, male on dead penguin action, male on unwilling female penguin action. Oh, and action in exchange for pebbles. If Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, Marlin would have just changed into a female clownfish and mated with Nemo after his mother's death. Nemo! Oh, and fish don't talk, but more importantly, the whole changing into a...
Yeah, that fact's garbage.
3 true stories behind popular myths. Part 2. Number 3. The Lost City of Atlantis. While Atlantis is a myth created by the ancient philosopher Plato, many believe it was inspired by real ancient civilizations. These civilizations were advanced for their time and later disappeared under mysterious circumstances. One such civilization is the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. The Minoans were known for their advanced architecture, art, and maritime power, much like the description of Atlantis. The myth of Atlantis continues to fascinate us, a testament to our enduring fascination with lost civilizations and hidden knowledge. Number 2. The Bermuda Triangle. The myth of ships and planes mysteriously disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle has a basis in truth. This area, located in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, is known for its unpredictable weather and strong currents. These factors have contributed to numerous accidents over the years, leading to the area's ominous reputation. While the Bermuda Triangle is not officially recognized by the U.S. government or any international geographic organization, its legend persists in popular culture. Number 1. The Legend of Dracula. The infamous vampire Dracula was inspired by a real person, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad was a 15th century ruler of Wallachia, a region in modern-day Romania, known for his brutal and ruthless tactics. However, the vampire attributes associated with Dracula were added later through folklore and literature. Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula solidified the connection between Vlad and the vampire legend, creating one of the most iconic figures in horror literature.
Truly did, man. He influenced his...
Scary facts you wish you never knew. Olivia Farnsworth was 7 years old when she got hit by a car. She was then dragged 100 feet and felt nothing. This is because she's the only person in the world diagnosed with chromosome 6 deletion, which means she doesn't feel pain, hunger, or the need to sleep. This is a Buddha monk in Thailand. He's 109 years old. He was born in 1913. Only 1% of people can do this. None of you could completely spell your name one word at a time in the comments without being interrupted. Let's see who wins first this time. This watermelon tastes like your mama's booty. This isn't scary, but it's scary fast. In 1945, the US government injected 18 people with dangerous radioactive plutonium. Oh, and they did it without them knowing, just to see how their bodies would react. They ended up not admitting this until 1995. It was announced the day of the O.J. Simpson trial, so that it wouldn't receive any media attention. Makes you wonder what else the government has done secretly and hasn't decided to tell us yet, until another distraction comes. Now you can check if your phone activity is being monitored. Just click share, slide to the very end, click more, and if any unknown apps appear before your contacts, you should delete them immediately. In 2012, Anthony Hansley was kayaking in Illinois when a swan came and attacked him and became very aggressive. He fell out the kayak and decided to swim to shore, but the swan kept attacking him while he was swimming, causing him to sadly drown. If you like and follow my page, you'll become smarter every day.
What they do to the freaking swan? Those swans were known as peaceful birds, man. That swan was on something that day. I don't know what. You spitting facts though, man. We learned some interesting things.
Imagine going to a family Christmas dinner and almost everyone dies from poisoning. This woman tried to kill her husband's entire family by giving them a cake she baked that was laced with arsenic. 3 family members passed away, 3 others were hospitalized, and this woman who poisoned everyone ended up on December 23rd when 42-year-old Diaz Mora baked a cake and invited her husband's entire family over. That evening, they began cutting the cake that they would normally eat on Christmas Eve, and almost everyone complained about the taste and that it tasted a little weird. But they still ate a significant amount of cake, and almost everyone felt sick right away, and 3 people died right then and there. Investigators tested all the ingredients in the house and found that the flour used in the cake was laced with arsenic. But what's absolutely crazy is that a couple of months earlier, Diaz's father-in-law also suddenly died, and they exhumed his body and found high levels of poison. So they think that she also took his life. Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, what was the motive? Why did she do this? At first, the family didn't understand what caused her to commit this crime, but then they thought about it and they remembered a disagreement they had 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And they believe that she might have not got over this disagreement, and that's why she
tried to unalive everyone. But things don't even end there, because while Diese sat in prison, her husband told her that he wanted a divorce, and a day later,
have had relations with the dead, decapitated, and the literal ground, so it makes sense that one fell in love with a waifu. Gurepukun was a penguin born in the Hamura Zoo in Tokyo in '96, and was eventually transferred to Mayashiro Saitama with his wife and chick. Wait, his wife? Yeah, that's right. And after 10 years, his mate Midori left him for a younger penguin. Ain't that a bird? At the same time, the zoo was putting up cutouts from the anime Kimono Friends as a promotion to attract visitors. They attracted a resident because Gurepukun became obsessed with the cutout of Hululu put by his place. But he spent hours eyeballing her, and they even had to move her from the tall rock she was on because the business chicken would fall into water trying to touch her. Even after the promotion ended, they kept her in his sights, possibly for his health. There's even a rumor they had to separate the otaku bird from the piece of cardboard because he started refusing to eat. The zoo, aka the Penguins PR team, has denied this. The Japanese media ran, sprinted, Tokyo drifted with the story, and Gurepukun became the zoo's ambassador. He even met Ikuko Chigura, the voice actor of his obsession, although reports state he preferred the 2D version. This wasn't a rebound or a side chick. Bro was ready to commit and would even perform the official Humboldt Penguin courtship dance at her. At one point there was a storm, and they had to bring Hululu inside so she wouldn't be blown away in the wind, and the brief time apart almost made Gurepukun retire from life. He'd officially resigned from existence in 2017 after an illness, but he died doing what he loved. Whatever this is, the more you know, and RIP Gurepukun.
Not guilty of...
The woman, in order to avenge her daughter, S-H-O-T, and killed the murdered Huese and killed her 8-year-old daughter with her own hands in court, and was sometimes sentenced to life imprisonment. In court, when the jury declared Ethan Cole innocent, Sarah fainted on the spot. She couldn't believe that the murder of her daughter would eventually be acquitted. When Cole heard the verdict, he laughed smugly. The seemingly calm court instantly caused a huge stir. Amid the chaos, Sarah quickly regained consciousness, swiftly took out a weapon from her pocket, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Ethan Cole fell to the ground immediately after 3 loud bangs. The court was instantly plunged into chaos. When the bailiff subdued Sarah, she didn't resist. She recalled that her daughter OTT's body had been discarded by the river, and that Ethan Cole had distorted the facts by claiming that his 8-year-old daughter seduced him. Sarah just wants to avenge her daughter. However, in the new trial, Sarah, who was originally a victim, will face charges of first-degree murder for premeditated carrying of a weapon. The judge said in the verdict that it was a tragedy for both sides and sentenced Sarah to life imprisonment. Do you think this mother is guilty? Let's exchange ideas in the comment section.
She unalived her mom and her stepdad in their bed to grow her social media platforms. 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick, back in February, allegedly pew-pewed her mom and her stepdad while they laid in the bed in their home in Georgia and fled the scene, leaving her 5-year-old sister to find their parents unalived. Immediately after the crime took place, 17-year-old Sarah went to the public for assistance to help find the people who committed these crimes. Since the event took place, Sarah has grown her social media platform, journaling her experience of her mom and dad's unaliving, continuing to work with law enforcement agencies, other content creators, and other media sources like true crime. Just a couple of days ago, an arrest warrant was issued out in the connection of the unaliving of 45-year-old James Brock and 41-year-old Kristen Brock. After months of claiming her innocence and jumping around from family members' houses, 17-year-old Sarah turned herself in to law enforcement to take a plea. What can possibly go through a young child's mind for them to decide to unalive their own parents? Like, follow, and share. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts.
This woman...
It's that clout, man. Clout. It's a new drug, man. It just makes you do things you didn't think you were capable of doing just so you could get that attention. That attention, I guess, it makes people feel special when they have all those eyeballs on them. But it ain't worth it at the end of the day.
Right here, Jennifer Gledhill has been arrested for the murder of her husband, Matthew Johnson, and now her parents, Thomas and Rosalie, have been arrested for helping her cover up the murder. Jennifer was arrested when her lover, that's the terrible word, her boyfriend told police that she confessed to murdering Matthew. And apparently the reason she did it is because the husband found out that she was cheating. September 20th, he found out that she was having this affair. And so the next day, September 21st, she shot and killed him while he was sleeping. And according to the boyfriend, who later went to police and was like now an informant to the police, What Jennifer did was she shot him and then she put his body in a rooftop storage container. I think they mean one of those things that you put on the top of your car, you know, to store luggage or something in. And then she slid it down the stairs to get him into the back of her minivan. And then she drove the body to a location north somewhere, dug a hole and buried his body in a shallow grave. Police have still not been able to locate exactly where his body is. Then they were able to find blood stains under the bed in the master bedroom, but they realized that the mattress was brand new, and that's because Rosalie, Jennifer's mother, went and bought the mattress for Jennifer. There's evidence that the parents went and spent 5 hours cleaning up the crime scene, replacing this mattress, and now they're not cooperating with police. The parents even erased their phones, like to try to get rid of the evidence that they were communicating back and forth with their daughter. And police found a plastic tote with a gun in it. So it looks like they possibly could have been hiding the murder weapon as well for her. At this point, the judge has ordered that Jennifer has no contact with her 3 children, and their grandparents are in prison, so hopefully there's other family members who can help take care of these poor kids.
Her mom performed an exorcism on her because she believed that she was possessed. 3-year-old Aurelie Proctor lived with her 25-year-old mom, Claudia Hernandez, in San Jose, California. Claudia believed that Aurelie was possessed because she would wake up in the middle of the night screaming and crying. Aurelie wouldn't stop, so this made Claudia believe that she was possessed somehow. On September 24th of 2021, around 6:30 a.m., Claudia and her brother drove Aurelie to a nearby church to help with her alleged possession. Claudia grabs Aurelie by the neck and the waist, trying to get her to throw up this evil spirit. Claudia's dad was the pastor of that church, and he ends up showing up to help them out. Claudia then puts her fingers down Aurelie's throat, and she ends up throwing up a clear/purple liquid. All of this went on for 12 hours, and just the day before, Aurelie was only given 6 ounces of water. Aurelie ended up passing away between 6 to 6:30 p.m. Once it was after 8 p.m., Claudia called 911 to report that her daughter had passed away. Once first responders arrived, they noticed that Aurelie had bruising around her eye, neck, and chest. At the time, no one was arrested because there wasn't enough evidence. A few days later, Claudia set up a GoFundMe to raise money for her daughter's burial. On January 27th of 2022, Claudia uploaded a YouTube video addressing the whole situation. She was not remorseful and basically said it is what it is. On January 31st, law enforcement were finally able to arrest and book Claudia into the Santa Clara County Jail because of that YouTube video, and on May 13th, her father and brother were arrested as well.
This Colorado man is accused of killing, decapitating a woman, and having her severed hand inside of his pocket during the arrest. This happened in Pueblo County, Colorado, and a 26-year-old security guard murdered a 47-year-old woman. On January 10th at 3:47 p.m., officers responded to a distress call and found the victim's body floating in the water. The victim was identified as Rainy Portillos. Officers later arrested Solomon Martinez, pictured behind me, and charged him with first-degree murder. After killing this woman, Solomon Martinez went home to his roommate, and his roommate helped him push this very heavy bag out of the car and into the water. You see where this is going. A man witnessed them do this, and Martinez threatened him with a gun, but the man refused to even forget about the situation. He called the cops immediately. Martinez then recorded a video of the body and put a blanket over it to cover himself, as if his clothes and all that weren't blood-stained already. Upon the police interrogating him, they found a plastic bag with her hand in it. There was also blood and cuts all over his hands and wrists, and his story kept changing by the minute. He is now in custody at the Pueblo County Jail, and his bond is set for $1 million. Also, upon further investigating the vehicle, detectives found the blood of the woman inside of his vehicle. What do you guys think about this crazy story? And reminder, these videos are for informational purposes only. Go check out my YouTube channel. Link in bio.
The world can be an evil place, as we just witnessed, man. The fact that he had his roommate help him, mind-boggling.
So, during the night then, I want to get to the part. What wakes you up?
Crashing noise.
Okay. Did your kids wake up at the crashing noise?
No.
Did your kids wake up at any gunshots?
No.
So you heard a crashing noise. What do you do?
I got out of bed and I stumbled on the dog at the end of the bed, and I walked out of the bedroom. I walked into the bathroom because that's what I thought it was our shower caddy had fallen. It had fallen earlier in the week.
All right. Where did you go next?
I went to the kitchen next and looked out the window that is over the sink, which overlooks basically our driveway and front yard.
Did you see anybody out there?
I did not.
What did you do next?
Then I went and walked into the living room on the other side of the house to turn on, well, in all honesty, to yell at Ryan for not waking up with me, because my thought was, why isn't he up looking? Like, how did he not hear that? So then I walked to the living room and turned on a lamp.
Was there some point that we've heard that you said that you got up at some point and heard Ryan snoring? Is that a different time window then?
When I got up to go to the bathroom around what I thought was 3 o'clock in the morning, I heard him snoring regularly.
Okay.
When I was in the kitchen, I heard a single snore sound come from the living room.
Okay. Do you have your phone in your hand while you're walking, making these steps?
Most likely, yes.
Put a light.
So, you get to the living room, you turn on the lamp. What happens?
I just started screaming.
And then, how long are we waiting before we call Aaron Cooper?
It seemed like forever, but a couple of minutes. I ran back out of the living room through the dining room, and I was halfway up the steps when Cade was coming down the steps. I think I scared him because I remember him like turning around like he was going to run away from me, like run back up the steps, and then he realized it was me, and I grabbed him and we went downstairs and I put him in the bedroom, and I went in the bedroom as well, and I believe that's where I called Aaron from, was the bedroom. So to answer your question, it was probably a couple of minutes, but it felt like a lifetime.
She opened the door to a big bad wolf, and he took her life. Doreen Herbert was born on November 29th of 1952 and was from Santa Clara, California. She started dating William Michael Dennis. Later they got married and had a son together named Paul Dennis. In 1977, they ended up getting a divorce. Doreen got custody of their son Paul, and William was still able to come visit. Eventually, Doreen met Charles Herbert. He was a carpet store owner, and later on they ended up getting married. Doreen and Charles raised Paul, and eventually she got pregnant again, and in 1979 she had a little girl named Deanna. It seemed like their marriage was going great, but Doreen's ex-husband William remained bitter. In February of 1980, 4-year-old Paul had fell into the swimming pool, and when he was found unresponsive. 911 was called and he was put on life support, but after a few days he was taken off of it and unfortunately passed away. As devastating as it was for everyone, William took his son's death extremely hard, and he felt like his ex-wife Doreen was to blame for it. He even tried suing Charles and Doreen, but he lost. He lost his job, his mental health deteriorated, and his resentment towards Doreen grew. As a few years had passed by, Doreen found out she was pregnant again, and she was due in November of 1984. On Halloween night of 1984, Doreen was only a couple weeks away from delivering her baby, and she was taking out Deanna to go trick-or-treating. Once they got back home, Charles left the home to go buy some cigarettes, and as soon as he left the home, Doreen noticed that there was a hard knock at the front door. As Doreen was opening the front door, she had Deanna right next to her when she noticed that on the other side there was a person wearing a wolf mask. The person on the other side of the door was carrying a hatchet and mumbled, "I'm going to kill you," and quickly Doreen told Deanna to hide behind the couch. Once Charles returned home, he opened the door and saw that Doreen had been attacked, and their unborn baby was cut out of her abdomen and cut into tiny little pieces. There was so much blood around the area that Charles had fell looking for Deanna, but luckily she was unharmed, hiding behind the couch. Although Doreen still had a pulse, she unfortunately died on the way to the hospital. Charles was detained for questioning, but once the police started talking to neighbors, they explained the history between the couple and William. Once police had arrived at the crime scene, they found the wolf mask with a trail of blood, and they ended up going to William's home, and that's when they found blood in his truck. He was soaked with blood on his clothing, and he had even made 2 makeshift caskets. In 1988, William was convicted of first-degree and second-degree murder of Doreen and her unborn son. He was placed on death row but passed away in 2023.
chilling story, man. Resentment will cause your life to deteriorate. Truly. In that weird hotel room? I'm out. We don't do that.
You guys, what the hell? This couple was arrested on Friday after their 6-year-old told his teacher he didn't want to go home because he didn't want to go back into a cage. The dad is 35-year-old Justin Huff, and the mom is 31-year-old Yuru Exi. I probably said that wrong. Come to find out, they're both scientists at the University of Florida. So the 6-year-old's teacher called the Department of Children and Family Services, who got the police involved. They went over to the house along with a social worker, and they just guided them right to the cage like it was normal. Now, I want to point out that it isn't just a 6-year-old who is getting caged, but they have a 2-year-old that they were doing this to as well. Now look at this. The parents allegedly acknowledged locking the eldest boy in the wooden enclosure, which was made out of pressure-treated 2x4s, saying he was disobedient and had ADHD, police said. The mother reportedly said the boy was locked inside while she was working and that her husband let him out when he returned home from work. The mother also allegedly told police she had tried to find a childcare program for the boy, but his bad behavior resulted in no one wanting to take him. Oh, yeah, let's blame the 6-year-old. So then the 6-year-old showed authorities an overturned crib in his parents' closet where the 2-year-old little boy was confined at night. He also lifted one side of the crib to show how his parents placed the toddler inside. The crib's mattress was on the floor, and there were metal springs and wiring hanging from the upside-down bed that could harm the 2-year-old. The mother allegedly said the toddler was kept inside the overturned crib because he climbed out of it at night. What the hell? Huff and C are being held at the Alachua, I probably said that wrong, county jail in lieu of $600,000 bail, according to online records. She has pleaded not guilty to the charges filed against her, according to court records. Additional reports also state that the 6-year-old boy told police that sometimes he would be in the cage from the time he got home from school that afternoon until the very next morning around 7 a.m. when it was time to leave again. I have a 6-year-old little boy. I don't get what the hell's wrong with people. They're being charged with aggravated child abuse and child neglect. The kids are with family members right now. They're on an administrative leave. I don't see them going back. This is obviously an ongoing case.
The thing that keeps me up at night is the case of Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony was a mom who lived in Orlando, Florida with her 10-year-old daughter. On July 15, 2008, Casey's mom called the cops because she said that her granddaughter had been missing for like 30 days.
For 30 days?
Okay, and that, yeah. So the cops interviewed her. She said that she was with her babysitter named Zanny Gonzalez. She said that they both worked together at Universal Studios and that she would take the cops there to meet the person, and it came out that she was lying. She never even had a job there. They ended up going through the back of her car and it smelled awful. They ended up finding her remains in a wooded area not too far from the house. This is where the story gets messed up. It was like 2 years later. Casey Anthony was in court. It seemed to be a slam dunk. They found the little girl's DNA in the trunk of the mom's car. She was found not guilty of the murder of her daughter.
How? The evidence was all there.
Let's take a look at this photo. This was pulled from the evidence archives of the Michigan State Homicide Unit. It is the only known photo we have of who was known as the Skinner. So in the early 70s, in a rural part of Michigan, something very strange was going on. It started out as just a very high number of women who were going missing in this county, but it would soon turn very dark. It was like for every one of these women that went missing, there was always an article of clothing found, as well as a severed foot. So after all of these months of investigating and questioning people, they eventually stumble upon this abandoned home in the county, and they would obtain a warrant to search it. Inside were all of the bodies of the women, every single one of them, and they had all been skinned alive. This place was littered with all of these Polaroids that this man had taken of everything he had done to these women, but he only took one photo of himself. This picture, as he's never been caught, and this is all we know of the Skinner.
The Skinner. That's a crazy name.
This is the most dangerous prisoner in the world, and you'll never believe why. A little girl named Shiloh was on her phone at night when she got a call from a mysterious number. And on that night, she didn't pick up the phone because her parents weren't home, and she didn't want to talk to any strangers. Thinking it might be one of her friends from school or her teacher, she picked up the phone. And when she picked up the phone, she heard a little girl's voice. The little girl told Shiloh to come to the park at night alone, and told her that she would play with her. Not knowing better, Shiloh decided to leave her house and walk to the park. The time was now 1 a.m. as Shiloh slowly started walking at night to the park. No one was around except her, and it was eerily quiet. Shiloh quickly realized that there was no one around her, so she freaked out and called the number back again. But this time, no one picked up. She was so scared she just wanted to see someone, so she decided to run to the park to see her friend that called. And that's when Shiloh's heart started beating really fast, because she heard a small car parked up behind her. And what happens next will absolutely shock you. If you want to know what happens, like and follow for part 2.
What happened to Shiloh, man? I gotta find out for you guys, Seekers.
This clown suit belonged to serial killer John Wayne Gacy. He would dress up as Pogo the Clown and perform for children at children's hospitals and other charitable events. It's eerie seeing these costumes in person. John Wayne Gacy murdered an estimated 33 boys and men, but his true victim count is still unknown. All of these items that I'm showing on screen belonged to John Wayne Gacy at one point, either inside or outside of prison, and it's absolutely eerie to be standing right in front of the killer clown himself. We're actually covering this story on our podcast Murder in America soon, and it's wild.
I couldn't be there, man. Bad energy.
They put Elvis on some insane diets to help combat with all the weight gain and health problems he was having. One was called the Sleeping Beauty diet. It's where you don't eat and you don't drink. You take pills that make you sleep for hours, so then you're not awake and hungry and need to eat. And once he had his doctor put him in a medically induced coma, so he would not be able to eat anything. And for some reason, this bitch complied. I know it was a different world back then, but like, oh my gosh. Throughout 1975, he refused to bathe. So man just like sat around, ate, and would not take a bath, and was gaining a ton of weight because of all of this. And this gave him a lot of sores on his body because he wouldn't bathe. Like, people need to bathe. The non-stop touring and the toll of his mother's death really took a decline on his mental and physical health. And obviously he was feeling bad about himself. Like, his face looks very different from when he looked like this heartthrob. And just being in the public eye in general is so stressful. His belly was bloated, he weighed so much, but his body didn't want to expand. It was something with his abdomen. I'm no doctor, and to be honest, everything I was reading I did not understand. But for some reason his abdomen did not want to make his stomach bigger, and his belly was so bloated. I mean, he struggled with a lot of constipation, and this ultimately led to his death. The next part of this video is in the playlist. Follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more content.
Imagine going to Disney World only to be followed by someone the entire time and not even know it. 17-year-old Madison Gaston received a notification on her phone that an Apple AirTag was following her the entire day. If you guys don't know what an Apple AirTag is, it's basically a mini tracking device used to find your personal items in case you lose them, such as your keys. So Madison received this creepy notification, and it stated that the AirTag was detected with her at 7:09 p.m., but she only received the notification at 11:33 p.m. When Madison clicked on the notification, a map appeared outlining every single place that she went to in the last 4 hours. So basically someone knew every move she was making. By the way, Madison was with her family, and when they saw this, they all panicked and emptied their bags and belongings in the parking lot, but they were still unable to find the AirTag. There's been a number of growing cases where women have reported AirTags following them, and this usually happens in places like Disney World or where kids or teens usually go. And unfortunately, a lot of criminals and predators are using AirTags to stalk people, steal cars, and even kidnap children. And just so you guys know, there are settings on your phone that allows you to get notifications if an AirTag is detected on you, so you might want to check that just to be safe.
Yeah, I need to turn that on immediately, bro. Those AirTags.
Just imagine capturing this on your Ring camera. It was 2018 and just outside of her condo in Phoenix, Arizona, when Jessica Catania got an alert on her phone and saw this. According to her eventual statement, she immediately realized that she's in danger. She locks her bedroom door, she starts dialing 911, but that's when she heard it. So whoever this man was, he then pries open the living room window and pops out the screen. He's in the house. But this woman, Jessica, she's like incredibly resourceful in a stressful situation. She immediately grabbed a hammer, any weapon that she could find from her closet, and she hides in her bathroom. But while she's waiting in there, she's got the door locked, but it would only be about 3 minutes before she eventually hears police inside her condo. But the problem is, they never found the man. To this day, she has no idea who this man was or why he broke into her condo. In the investigation, police would eventually nickname him Smiles.
He had a creepy smile for sure. She was smart to go in
Barbie
that
has a
bathroom.
much creepier history than I thought. I'm going to show you some theories about Barbie that have been keeping me up at night, and I cover all sorts of creepy and true crime stuff, so follow along. In 2010, Barbie released a doll that had a camera on her necklace as well as a video screen on her back. This doll has since been discontinued, but there's a lot of rumors about what happened to this footage when it was recorded. So people have always theorized that the footage was collected and sold either by Mattel or by someone more nefarious. And it's been mentioned how easy it would have been for hackers to collect and sell all this data. The FBI even put out a statement about it. Barbie also released and discontinued the Hello doll, which could listen to children and respond with over 8,000 pre-recorded answers. A lot of parents worried that these dolls were potentially recording their children and then selling that data, but this doll also has really concerning reviews. Like, people say that the doll won't take no for an answer. Like, if she asked if you wanted to hear a story and then you said no, she would actually push back and then just tell you the story anyways. And the doll would also ask really specific and targeted questions about children, like how big their families were and if they had any siblings. Was this doll just collecting market data on children, or was it something much weirder?
That sounds like an early version of AI. That's what I'm getting, man. That doll wasn't trying to take no for an answer. It was happening back in the day and we didn't even know it right in front of our eyes. They've been working on it for a while, haven't they?
Do y'all remember back in 2009 when this young woman got her face tattooed with 56 stars and tried to cover it up by telling one of the most outrageous lies I have ever heard? Welcome back, True Crimers. That was a mouthful. This is the case of Kimberly Valmanak. Viewer discretion is advised. So, like I said, back in 2009, Kimberly came up with this very brilliant idea of getting 56 star tattoos on her face. No biggie, no problem. So she went ahead, went to a tattoo artist that she secured, and got her 56 star tattoos. Now, after she was done getting the tattoos, she panicked. She saw what it looked like, she wasn't expecting it, and some people even started calling her, quote, a freak. She was like, wow, I have to do something, I don't know what to do. Let me just do the normal thing, make up a lie my way out of this one. So Kimberly proceeded to go to several news outlets and say that she had, quote, fallen asleep while getting tattooed. And the tattoo artist basically took advantage of her by tattooing on more stars than she agreed to in the first place. And he simply did it because she was sleeping. My initial thought there was, who falls asleep during a tattoo? I myself have a tattoo. I mean, it's not like so painful, but it's definitely painful and you can definitely feel it. I don't really see anybody falling asleep during that, especially a tattoo on the face. I don't know. But in any event, that was the story she decided to run with, and she even tried to sue the tattoo artist and tattoo parlor, claiming that this was all their fault and that she didn't consent. Now, initially, people believed her. They were actually kind of supportive of her, but eventually she would come out and say she was flat lying. And the reason she lied is because she didn't want to look like a freak. She was worried people were going to judge her, say she was crazy, and just didn't want to associate with her. So she tried to lie her way out of it, but that ended up backfiring. Now, after all the hustle and bustle died down from that, Kimberly began some very painful and very expensive laser treatments. It took her over 3 years and 9 laser treatments, and she was able to go back to basically normal. Here's a picture of the before with all the tattoos, and a picture of after, and she's looking pretty great. She's looking just like how she looked before she got the tattoos.
Starry, that's what we called her, man. That's the nickname, Starry.
The true story behind the movie The Orphan. It's about a girl named Natalia Barnett.
Natalia Barnett was actually an orphan who suffered from dwarfism, and she was first adopted by a New Hampshire family in 2008. Because unfortunately, the family didn't work out and she was put back into the system again. So that was her first family, so keep that in mind. About 2 years later, she was adopted by the Barnett family in 2010. Florida agency ended up contacting them. They ended up giving a phone call and be like, hey, I have, a child named Natalia. She's from Ukraine. I have her up for adoption. You guys have over 24 hours to decide if you guys want to adopt her or not. They flew out to Florida, they went to go meet her in a small office, and instantly, as Natalia saw them, she ran up to them and referred to them as mommy and daddy right away.
The Orphan. That's a big
back in like
movie.
1990s and early 2000s. Channel 5?
Yeah.
It was very popular in Mexico. It was like the Mexican Channel 5. They had a section where they did something called service to the community, and they would put a bunch of pictures of missing people, and they put a picture of Selene Delgado. And you've probably seen the picture before, and it turns out that it was a fake, like it was a hoax. She's not a missing person. Maybe she's a real person, but she's not missing. So people searched up in the records of missing people, and she was not on there. So they don't know why they put her on there, but it's weird because they put her normal picture, and after a while, her picture looked different. It was that picture, that exact picture on top of her face.
And that happened on the news?
Yeah, they faked that. I don't know why they faked that. I think they were trying to scare people. But the weird thing is that picture is linked to something else. It's basically linked to Derek Todd Lee, also known as the Baton Rouge serial killer, was an American serial killer between 1992 and 2003. Let's say a cop asks you, you're a witness, and a cop asks you, what did the person look like? Can you describe the suspect? And then a guy comes in, he sketches his out, and that was the sketch of Derek Todd Lee.
That's how he looked?
That's how they described him, as how he looked.
This is the disappearance of Kevin McAllister. On December 22nd, 1990, the McAllister family of Chicago, Illinois packed themselves up for a vacation to Miami, Florida. A vacation that Father Peter McAllister was somehow able to afford as a day trader in Chicago? The suitcases were packed, the alarms were set, and the Pepsi was taken easy on, so that Cousin Fuller did not wet the bed. Go easy, little buddy. On December 23rd at 8:40 a.m., the McAllisters headed to the airport. What mother Kate McAllister did not realize was that she would prove to be what the French call les incompetents. They left their son Kevin at home, alone. When the plane landed, Kate phoned police and a welfare check was conducted at the home. But it was reported to the family that Kevin was missing. That's when Kate McAllister left her family in Miami and headed back to Chicago to locate her son. Little did she know she'd never make it, and she was last seen at an airport in Scranton, PA. Kate was last seen with this mysterious group of men, all carrying tubas. She was never seen again. The only clues left behind were this bucket of paint, a broken picture of Buzz's girlfriend, Wolf, and traces of flesh on the floor, supposedly belonging to a bald head. So what do you think happened to Kevin McAllister? Was it the Wet Bandits, who were charged with criminal robbery and aggravated water damage on the same night of his disappearance? Do you think it could have been a local pizza delivery driver who got stiffed by Kevin and sought revenge on the little brat? Keep the change, you filthy animal. What about the spooky neighbor who had an estranged relationship with his son? Were we supposed to care about this plot point? What happened to Mrs. McAllister? And who are these large men? Is she in the tuba? Oh, okay. Something else.
Home Alone, Dark Origins, man. That's what they gonna name that movie.
I have a dream, a song to sing,
I'm at Disney too?
to help me cope with anything. If you see the wonder,
It's too close to it.
of a fairy tale, you can take the future, even if you fail. I believe in angels.
It's too close to the shore. Way too
Something
close.
good in everything I see. I believe in
Times when jokes backfired big time. In 2006, the high-end water Fiji ran an ad campaign jokingly saying the label says Fiji because it's not bottled in Cleveland. Well, the city of Cleveland, Ohio saw this and were offended because what did they ever do to deserve this? So rightfully, the city of Cleveland tested their tap water and found that it was actually cleaner and tastier than Fiji water. Next, several years ago, a California man jokingly got a personalized license plate that read no, and thought it would trick the database so whenever he got a ticket, it would register as no, meaning nothing. Well, the problem with that is, anytime there was an error on anyone else's license plate, they assigned it to him. He got $12,000 in fines.
Here's 5 things our parents lied to us about. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. This isn't true. The noise is caused by negative pressure temporarily pulling nitrogen gas into the joint. If you swallow gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years. This is not true. It will be excreted within a few days. Sitting too close to the TV will hurt your eyes. This is actually a very popular misconception. A long-term extensive study has shown that myopia in children has nothing to do with this. If you keep going cross-eyed, you'll get stuck like that forever. This is simply false. Your hair will grow faster the more often you cut it. This isn't true. There are a number of factors affecting it, such as age, hormones, and even the time of year.
So my whole childhood was a lie?
Did you know these facts? The Apollo 11 astronauts were not able to get life insurance, so instead they signed hundreds of autographs as their own insurance for their families in case of tragedy. The first business Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs created together was an illegal device to make long-distance calling easier by tricking the phone companies. All of the paint on the Eiffel Tower weighs the same amount as 10 elephants, and it gets repainted every 7 years without closing to the public. There's a company in Japan who was giving 6 extra vacation days a year to employees who didn't smoke, and it actually helped push a lot of the employees to stop smoking. Roughly 67% of the earth is under cloud cover at any given time. Ancient Babylonians did math in base 60 instead of base 10, which is why we have 60 seconds and 360 degrees for a circle. Ruth Brown was a 1950s R&B superstar that had to work low-paying jobs while she was famous because the record label was withholding her earnings.
Here is a quick list
Scummy.
of documentaries to watch for the month of January if you haven't already. First, we have The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, the final chapter. This documentary explores the controversy of Natalia's medical condition and adoption. Natalia was born with a rare dwarfism condition, and when she was adopted, they ended up abandoning her because they claimed that she lied about her age and she was manipulating them. Next, we have an update on our family. Vlogger couple Micah and James Stauffer made content based on their child who was adopted from China. He was on the autism spectrum but later gave him up. This scandal touches on the unregulated family vlogging industry. Next, we have The Bunker. This documentary details Isabel Erickson's abduction by a doctor who she was going on a date with. Next thing she knows, she is being held captive in a cramped, windowless room. In this 3-part series, Isabel talks about what she endured and how she escaped. Last but not least, we have Scamanda. This true crime documentary talks about blogger Amanda Riley, who was pretending to be dealing with cancer. She deceived people and nearly collected $100,000 to allegedly help with her hospital bills.
The weirdest houses
Should
ever.
I check those out?
You really gotta love music to make your house look like this. I'm trying to think of how to describe this house. It looks like a bathroom. Does that make sense? Totally normal house except for the giant shark that crashed into the roof. This must be a ghost house. I don't know why, but I really don't like how it looks. Before I show you the best one, I just found a way to erase anything from your photos. Try it out by pressing the button on my profile, then press erase and edit like a pro. And finally, wait, is that Squidward? Interesting design choice.
Just a quick question. Would any of you guys live in any of those houses? That would be a no from me. I don't think so. Especially that Squidward one, man. Creep me the hell out. I don't know what we go through those designers' ideas, man. Especially one house was just see-through. Like, what? That ain't a house. I don't know what you would call that. You know what this is, man.
Child marriage used to be legal in America, and the story of this marriage is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about. This is 9-year-old Eunice Winstead, and this is her legal husband at the time, Charlie Johns. So on January 19th, 1937, Eunice, who was 9 years old at the time, left her mother's house. On that morning, she told her parents that she was going out to buy herself a new doll. But instead, the 9-year-old was headed to the courthouse to meet her 22-year-old future husband, Charlie Johns. So at the time of this affair, there was no age limit on marriage in Tennessee. I mean, technically, someone could have married an adult and a baby if they paid off the minister and got everything to go through properly. And so, on that day, 22-year-old Charlie offered a local Baptist preacher named Walter $1, which equates to around $21 today. And the preacher accepted the offer, came into the church, and married the 9-year-old to the 22-year-old. I mean, obviously, words cannot possibly describe how disturbing images like these are. Now, at first, both Charlie and Eunice's parents disapproved of the marriage, but after some thought, they eventually approved the marriage. and they just allowed them to live together and be married. Now, sadly, Eunice dropped out of school at the age of 9 after her husband, Charlie, pulled her out, and she began giving birth to their children at age 15. They'd eventually have 8 children together. I just cannot believe that shit like this used to happen in America. Comment your thoughts on this below.
A girl woke up
That's
bruised
insane.
every morning, so her parents set up a security camera, and what they found will shock you. A young girl was going to sleep every night and waking up the next morning with bruises all over her body. At first, this was only happening occasionally, and the bruises were so small that they were barely noticeable. But over time, the bruises seemed to get a lot worse and were happening way more frequently. Her parents ended up sending her to a special summer camp where she had to wear shorts every day. When the staff finally noticed the bruises on her leg, they did the right thing and reported it to the authorities. After the staff contacted her parents, they decided to make a doctor's appointment to get the bruises checked out. The doctors ran many tests but didn't end up finding anything, so they sent her and her parents on their way home. Feeling extremely frustrated, her parents set up a security camera in her room to find out what was going on. The next morning, her parents watched the footage and were shocked by what they saw. Hit the plus for part 2.
Damn, I gotta find that, bro. What the hell happened?
Crazy things happening in the world right now. After a woman took a DNA test for funsies, police used it to charge her grandmother with murder in a cold case. A woman divorced her husband in order to be with Brad Pitt, only to find out that it was an AI scam. A Philadelphia man who was awarded more than $4 million for an overturned murder conviction ended up pleading guilty in a case where he ended a man's life over $1,200. TSA stopped more than 6,000 weapons at airport security in 2024, and 94% of them were loaded. A Texas woman has set the record for donating more than 2,000 liters of her breast milk. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, has let the world know that Stevie Wonder demoed the Apple Vision Pro. A man disrupted a TV interview where a woman was speaking on her feelings of being uncomfortable in public places, and he refused to leave. The city of Bend, Oregon recently ordered its citizens to stop putting googly eyes on statues.
Here's what would happen if you drank only water for 20 days. The first 2 days would be the worst. You'd feel incredibly hungry, your energy levels would drop, and your mood would be intolerable. In days 3 to 7, a process of ketosis would occur, in which your body breaks down fat it has stored, therefore making you lose weight. You'd also feel less hungry and more energetic. However, you would still get bad headaches and have bad night's sleep. In days 8 to 14, you would experience clarity of mind, and you'd feel happy and energetic. Very few people reach days 15 to 20 of water fasting, so you'd feel very proud. You'd feel light and active. However, you'd be ready to eat some solid food again. Comment if you try water fasting.
Have any of you guys tried the water fast before? I haven't.
This Krampus or Krampus animatronic is one of the creepiest things I have ever seen. They sell it at Spirit Halloween during Halloween time, but also at Spirit Christmas, which I'm still trying to find one of those. How absolutely massive it is in comparison to a human. And there's even versions of it holding a little animatronic child that's like freaking out. I also would be freaking out around this thing. Absolutely not. The story of Krampus or Krampus, depending on how you pronounce it, comes from like Austria, Europe, Germany. Basically, it's to threaten bad little kids and saying like, oh, Krampus is gonna get you. He's supposed to be Saint Nick, Santa Claus, but also not. I'm still trying to figure that out. I've been doing a lot of research about him because honestly he fascinates me. Also, the Krampus movie that came out a few years ago is honestly a really, really good movie, and you should probably watch it this holiday season if you like horror movies. But yeah, watch these videos of the animatronic in action and let me know how you're feeling, and if you would want this in your house for the low price of $350 US.
That ain't low price nowadays, baby. It kind of looks realistic. Like, imagine walking down the street seeing that. What would your reaction be? Yeah, that was scared. That definitely some kids, man. That's pure nightmare fuel for them. You know what this is.
People who are 1 in a million. This is Gary Turner, but he's better known as the Elastic Man. He has a medical condition that causes his skin to be extremely stretchy.
Mr.
He can
Fantastic.
literally stretch the skin from his neck over his mouth. And this man came into the hospital with severe chest pain. And doctors were shocked when they discovered this man had 2 hearts. Next up, we have Paul Carrison, the real-life Papa Smurf. To fix his skin condition, he would drink silver and rub it on his skin every day, which caused him to turn irreversibly blue.
If you're scared of snakes,
Why would he
this
do that?
video will probably be your worst nightmare. This absolute unit of a snake is called the Titanoboa, and they existed over 60 million years ago. These things were slithering around at almost 50 feet long, and let me just put that into perspective for you. That would be like lining up 8 Shaquille O'Neals from head to toe, and we know that dude's massive. Now, God didn't want to make them too overpowered, so he didn't give them any venom, but he did give them the ability to be amazing swimmers and even faster than a racehorse when moving on land. Now, although the Titanoboa doesn't have any venom, it is a constrictor, so when it catches its prey, it crushes the absolute soul out of it. Its jaw then unhinges, allowing its mouth to open wide enough to consume a whole human, alligator, really anything else. You might be thinking, with all this power, how did this beast go extinct? Well, it's not because they skipped leg day. No. You see, when the Earth cooled down, they couldn't maintain their metabolism anymore and went extinct. You can thank God that they're not around today. Make sure you share this video with someone who hates snakes. Here's why you should always make sure you lock your doors. In 2007, a girl in California was living just beside the local prison. One night, as she was about to go to sleep, she heard the door open downstairs and assumed it was her roommate. So she looked down the stairs and said hi, with no response. She found it a bit odd, but then out of the shadow came this huge man that she did not recognize at all. Terrified, she quickly ran upstairs into her crawl space and tucked herself in there for a few hours. She could hear this man flipping furniture and running all around her house downstairs. After a few hours, when she opened up the crawl space and grabbed her phone off her nightstand table, she dialed 911 and described the intruder to the cops. When the cops heard this description, they said, "Go back into your crawl space and stay there." It turns out a 6'11" man from the prison next door had escaped and broken into her house.
Would you guys even would you guys even want to live next to a prison? No. I'm gonna do shit out, man. As soon as if I even found out I was next to prison, I ain't gonna lie, I'm out, man. Cause exactly what would happen if somebody breaks out, you're gonna be the first house man they're gonna go to. No, that ain't happening to me.
Here's some news that will give you hope. A United pilot bought 30 pizzas for everyone on his flight that was delayed for multiple hours and made sure that everyone had a slice before he had his own. A man who found himself on an empty airplane ended up taking a photo of himself in every single seat and photoshopping it together. A 25-year-old pizza delivery driver ran into a burning house to save 4 children who ended up telling him there might be one more inside. The moment after he jumped out of a window with the final child was caught on a body cam. Former billionaire Chuck Feeney donated his over $8 billion of net worth to charities and spent his remaining days in a rented apartment in San Francisco with no assets under his name. These photos show a before and after just 6 weeks after getting a liver transplant. A grocery store employee found $12,000 in a grocery cart in the parking lot and returned it to the owner of the money. Here's a video of a kind dog allowing a starving kitten to eat from his food.
Imagine opening the front door to someone's decapitated
There's goodness
head
everywhere.
on June 10th of
Just gotta find it.
2017, someone's decapitated head was found on the front steps of a White House in Jackson, Mississippi. Around 9:19 a.m., police were alerted, and one of the first officers who was at the scene recognized this as his own cousin, 30-year-old Jeremy Jerome Jackson. Later that day, around 4 p.m., Jeremy's burnt body was found less than a mile away from that home. Jeremy was one of 9 siblings, and he lived with his brother Johnny. He had 3 children and was a business management student. Just the day before Jeremy was seen alive, he had asked his brother Corey if he could give him a haircut and a ride to a job interview at a Mexican restaurant, and he was very excited when he got that job offer. Later that day, Jeremy was cutting the grass and told his brother Johnny that he was going to a friend's house but never returned. His brother stated that when Jeremy left to go to that friend's house, he didn't seem worried or paranoid like something was going to happen. He seemed perfectly fine. The house where Jeremy's head was found on the front steps had no connection with him or his family. It was picked at completely random. An autopsy was done and revealed that he had suffered a non-fatal gunshot wound to his leg, and when he was decapitated, he was still alive. One of Jeremy's brothers developed paranoia following his murder, and he felt like he was being watched, or maybe he was going to be the next victim, since they had never found the killer. To this day, no one has found the person responsible for doing this to Jeremy.
2025 it just got even crazier, part 7. Firstly, from an insider leak, the PlayStation 6 will most likely launch in late 2027. The fact that we're talking about the PlayStation 6 right now makes me feel super old. However, experts claim when the drop does happen, the PlayStation 6 will likely be within the $600 to $800 range. Next, New York City just achieved something that you probably weren't expecting, because for the first time in 30 years, the city went 5 days without a reported shooting victim. Unfortunately, just 4 minutes after they announced this, the streak was broken. Finally, by large numbers, Gen Z and millennials are choosing pets over children and say that having a baby is just too expensive, while at the same time, Gen Z is spending more on their pets than any other generation.
Abandoned dark rides frankly need to be illegal. This is an abandoned Stitch animatronic that was in Stitch's Great Escape, and yeah, it's still there. So Stitch's Great Escape was at Disney World, and it was so universally disliked as an attraction that they just completely closed it when COVID happened, and they just never opened it back up. Apparently there was a part where Stitch would burp, and there was like smell-o-vision that would go through, and you could smell Stitch's burp. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but apparently it smelled disgusting. So yeah, they closed it, and all of the animatronics are just de-skinned and rotting away, still in the building. This cute little alien in this tube now looks like Squirrel from Ice Age for some reason. This creepy robot looks like this. This is Nightmare Fuel. I'm going to show you a video of the ride when it was functioning, which it wasn't really a ride, but the attraction when it was functioning. Just imagine it completely decommissioned and Stitch without skin and performing the way he does in this video. Nightmare Fuel. To think that it's still in the building somewhere. Just tear it down already.
They want to save their money. I don't know why they don't take down their freaking abandoned parks. Imagine that de-skin, yeah, she's right. And if a kid sees that, it's Nightmare Fuel for them.
These animals look exactly like celebrities. This giraffe looks exactly like Miley Cyrus, and they even have the tongue out. And here's Nicki Minaj if she was a cat. Yep, that resembles Donald Trump perfectly. And this alpaca totally looks like Taylor Lautner. Mr. Bean totally looks like the owl. I mean, look at the eyes. Okay, these two are practically twins. And yep, that's William H. Macy if he was a dog.
Since we read everybody in order, bruh, look at India. Look at how small India is. This should be the African Ocean. That's all I gotta say.
Hello, my friend. Why is such a big ocean named after the Indian subcontinent? Well, I'd say it's because of the region's central position and major historical influence. India's location at the northern edge of the ocean, pushing out like a wedge, made it a crossroad for trade routes connecting Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Since ancient times, traders, sailors, and merchants relied on predictable monsoon winds to travel across the Indian Ocean. Historically, Indian ports were vital hubs where goods like spices, textiles, and gemstones were traded. Religions such as Hinduism and Buddhism also spread across the ocean from India to other regions, influencing cultures far beyond its shores. Now, the subcontinent's dominance in trade and religion helped define the identity of the Indian Ocean as a connected world of commerce and shared ideas. The name Indian Ocean became common as European explorers in the 16th century recognized the influence India had over the region's economy and history.
I think that's come from, you know, Trump's naming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. I don't know. You know how many freaking textbooks probably gonna have to be changed, man, all across America now because of the name change? What do you guys think about that? If he's changing that names, there could be more coming. I don't know.
These are some facts that could save your life one day. If you've been stabbed or punctured by a sharp object, your immediate thought's probably going to be, I need to get this out of my body right now. But unfortunately, that's the last thing you want to do. When you get stabbed by an object, it actually is used as a plug to stop the bleeding from happening. And if you take it out, you're going to start pouring blood everywhere, you're going to lose more blood, and you'll die. This is a pretty simple one that I've talked about before, but if you ever are at the beach and you hear a roaring sound, the ground starts to shake, or you notice the water starting to recede from the shore very quickly and a lot farther than normal, run for your life to high ground. This is because these are all the telltale signs that a tsunami is headed directly for you. And yeah, you're just not going to make it out of that if you stay on the beach. And this is perhaps the most important one that I have. If you're ever traveling abroad and you're not in your home country, most places, especially over in Europe, you can use your phone and dial 112. This will automatically connect you to the nearest emergency service and they'll get you the help that you need. Also, even if you don't have phone service, you can dial 911 in America and it will still contact you through to a dispatcher. Look, I'm just trying to help you out over here today, alright? And that's why...
Here are people who are one in a million. Up first, we have Jalisha Nightingale. This Bajan model has intriguing icy blue eyes. It's a condition called sectoral heterochromia. It causes the iris of the eye to be multicolored. Next up, we have Steph Senyade. This YouTuber got a ton of attention when she posted a video explaining her condition. She has a genetic mutation called Waardenburg syndrome. It means the bone structure in her face is very unique. It's also the reason for her crystal blue eyes and why they're set further than the average person. It also caused her to be deaf in her left ear. It can also cause problems with pigmentation, which explains why she has a white piece of hair.
This is a true horrifying story. Part 88. I will tell you about a place I recently discovered that may possibly be the most haunted place on this planet. The Bhanga Fort.
Talk about it.
16th century fort built in the Rajasthan state of India. Madho Singh, an old ruler of the kingdom of Jaipur, lived in this fort. And it was built exactly 452 years ago. Back in the day, there was a high volume of dark rituals and many black magic practices done by the royals and the people around them. And in the fort, they have casted permanent spells within its walls. There also were wars inside and outside the Bhanga fort, and many people have died. Because of this place's history, many people are keen to visit this place, and you are allowed to visit. If you're a foreigner, you will not be allowed in without a government permit. If you're Indian, you can enter, but only when the sun is up. Warning boards all around the site issued by the ASI, constantly urging visitors to leave the premises before sunset, to strictly leave before the sun goes down. The state's government forbids anyone staying in the Bhanga fort at night because of the thousands of many incidents that happened that no one can explain. Everyone who stayed there after sundown has never returned, ever. Hundreds of people who claimed to be journalists laughed at this so-called tale and stayed the night in this place. They have all gone missing. No trail, no noises, and not even a body to be found. I genuinely thought that this couldn't possibly be real, but then after doing a lot of digging, I discovered that early state officials have apparently cleansed the place from its spells and curses. And it took them a while, and maybe that's why recently not many have gone missing. And people online claim that they were able to stay the night, but people miss the point. We're all very aware that the Bhanga fort is infested with jinns. And historically, in this fort, the jinns used to take the people away who stayed the night to an unknown place where they will never return. But today, they may not haunt you inside the fort, but they will definitely haunt you outside. In 2021, 3 daredevils decided to ignore the warnings and spent a night there with their torches and firewood. One of them was walking and injured himself. They all left to rush him to the hospital, but all 3 of them died in a car crash as soon as they left. Coincidence? Another story related to the Bhanga fort that happened in 2023 was a woman and her boyfriend decided to stay the night. They left and seemed to be all right, but the next day they were both found unconscious and they are currently in a coma state to this day from a very severe brain stroke. These strange stories happen all the time from that place, but they keep them hidden from the public. Other people from India that are not from this area may tell you that these stories are just tales, but not the locals. The locals have seen it all. They know what happens inside there. The jinns in Bhangar Fort are no jinns to be messed with. Only the power of God can save you.